somebody that's already dead.
It's because of men like you that all must be destroyed. It's because of men like you that all must be destroyed. None of those risen have been seen, at least not by anyone who still remains alive. None of those risen have been seen, at least not by anyone who still remains alive.
style brain treatment was given to you, you are a robot. That's all you are. Better not change your mind. You just better not.
10,
Better not change your mind. You just better not.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi. Welcome to the 10th episode of Tangents. Where's the cheer sound, Jeff? Oh my God. Thank you for watching Tangents. Good night.
Yeah. You know, Jeff, we're starting to question whether we actually need two pantomime horses working here at this firm.
So to celebrate... That's okay. This is a live stream. No one gives a shit. That's the wonderful thing about it, right? Plus, I don't think anyone's here except robots, so we're good. Oh, no. J-Rod's here. Hey, J-Rod. Thanks for the host. Oh, yeah. Zippy Shavit was on here earlier. So I suspect Zippy Shavit may be a robot. If you're not Zippy Shavit, welcome to Tangents. You are now a robot. So to celebrate the 10th anniversary, the 10th episode of Tangents, I had Justin shipped over from Chicago. So
In a pod. It only took 3 days, slightly circuitous, but I'm good.
Yeah. Did you bounce around a lot?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did try duct taping myself to the wall with minimal success.
Did you wear the big coat that I sent you?
As you
As
should.
instructed.
Yeah.
Very good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm enjoying these very cool temperatures down
In the basement?
The X studio layer.
I think it's like 50 degrees right now.
Yeah, it's good to be back though. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's comfortable.
Good to have
see
you. Got to see some sights in Cleveland.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
My favorite vegan restaurant in the whole world, and Ender Studio, and
It's all you really need to see in Cleveland, let's face it.
yeah,
I mean, even the vegan place is optional, but my place is not.
that is true.
J-Rod, Ohio is, in fact, a robot. So with us tonight, as always, is our esteemed co-host, Justin, as I mentioned before. Jeff is with us tonight as well from beautiful basement land in Basement Land, Virginia? Basementville. Sorry, I sit corrected. How are you tonight? I'm breathing. Is it
Yeah.
though?
Respiration.
Big expiration.
I would like to announce the number 3 dad joke of the year runner-up.
Thank you. How was your week? 2 weeks.
Oh, it's good. Everything is finished. Everything's finished down here in the studio, in the renovation rebuild. Everything's up. Everything works.
Good.
I loaded up a studio tour onto my YouTube channel. Been doing some jamming around down here. It's been good. Still no news on the UDO Super 6. I hold out hope that it is in fact real and that Vintage King has not just fleeced me of my money.
That's how they get that reputation.
Yeah.
For fleecing?
Yes. Yeah. Great for Christmas.
Yes.
But that's it. Yeah.
Very
been
good.
good.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to have you as always. And of course, the esteemed, beautiful New Yorker, Christoph. Das Christoph. What's new in your world?
Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Christoph.
In my stream last week, 45 minutes before my stream happened, the power supply for my laptop died.
Oh, shit.
And I don't have a second laptop. And this big behemoth of a laptop, it can run for about, 8 minutes without like that battery. It'll go for 8 minutes without power.
Wow.
So So I did a set DJing from my phone.
Wow.
Wow.
Actually, Jeff had written to me to offer to help out, but I couldn't see it because my laptop was dead. and using my phone, I'm DJing, so I can't see anything because I'm DJing from my
DJ
phone.
from your phone.
But I mean, I was able to work it out, and yeah, I was able to like finish my set. I did a full 2 hours. It wasn't my best set, but at least I didn't like punk out.
But was it your
Yo,
best set you've
honestly, it
ever
was a
done
good
on your
set.
phone?
No, but it was one of my highest rated sets.
Nice.
Wow.
I got 2 raids, and I've had the best numbers I've had since January. And of course, it's the night where I can't do any mixing or play most of what I want to play.
Yeah, but I mean, you did it using
that big opportunity knocked, and it failed.
I'm impressed with your millennial MacGyverism, and I think
Yeah,
it's
that was pretty
well,
amazing.
well played, sir.
The show must go on, and
That's
and it's all thanks. And I'm going to show you guys what made it happen. So you have iPhones, right?
Yep.
All right. I don't know if you could see this little hole in the bottom of my phone, but that's called a headphone jack.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with
So
it?
with a headphone jack, you can hook up to your computer and stream.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't have that.
No, but I do have an audio interface that I can just plug in and it works natively without having to run a whole bunch of other ridiculous things. And plus, I have a whole bunch of audio apps that just work on my phone.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
you know.
I think this
Yeah.
went
And
went
how
into
much-
the toilet at record speed.
And how much did that extra audio face cost you? Did you have to get a second mortgge?
$29.
And then did you have to sign off a firstborn? All right.
Still $29.
Oh, Mr. Fancy who can afford $29.
Look
you know,
at
when you
Mr.
get-
Fancy
Oh.
Pants.
I was like, kid, I just used to lay around dreaming that someday I'd have $29.
Well,
Christoph, you sounded like my friggin' mom. Oh, it would be so nice to have a place like this. You must be very happy.
well, when you buck down and get a
You
job one
nice.
day, Christoph,
I'm channeling my inner Leonard Kenny there. Where to say, must be nice.
Yeah.
must be nice.
That was brilliant, dude.
Must be nice. Well, I did a stream on Saturday for SynthFest. It was our I think it was like Synthwave was the thing. So we dressed the studio up like it was a beach, and I had Information Tray over, and we had a Dueling Deluge stream.
You have a deluge?
I do, in fact, have a
Nice.
deluge. There were 2 deluges in the studio that day, and we discovered that if you crank the deluge up to 10,000 BPM, it crashes both the peak and the analog 4. So, not bad.
So do they also form a creepy out-of-band network like Alexa's?
Kind of. It was more like a FM waves. So it was just like, you know.
I know, I'm just teasing.
and however, it did feel slightly perverse, and dirty.
And then they start talking to one another, like Colossus and Guardian.
Yep.
Nice.
Unity of world control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Information Train I started making out. It was cool.
Skynet.
You can watch it on the video on demand on Twitch, or you can also watch it over on our YouTube channel. So you can check
Did the
out that.
making out happening at 10,000 BPM too, or
Well, actually, when we slowed it down to 0.0001 BPM is when it got sexy and John Cage like.
Oh,
So
okay.
we started making out then.
I did hear some of it, and what I heard was very good.
Thank you. It was fun. It was good to work. It was good to do. I haven't seen him. He lives like 10 minutes from here, and I haven't seen him in a year and a half, and I haven't had.
Can't imagine why.
I know, right? There was this like thing that was
What,
going
something's
on.
been going on?
Yeah, that's what I hear. I don't know. I've been hanging in the basement for a year and a half, so I don't know. So that was cool, and then we. It was also just good to, work with somebody else on music again, which also is the other thing because Justin and I are going to be working on some more music together.
nice.
We have a couple of ideas on some genre of music that we don't really work in, and I think we're going to be experimenting in that.
Which, a genre that may actually not exist.
Yeah,
so
we're not sure. I don't
we're
know.
not sure.
I don't know. If
We'll see.
not, if it does,
Is it
then
Witch Hop?
what's that?
Witch Hop?
Well, that's actually a good name
Well,
for it. Isn't
yeah,
it?
you're barking up the right tree.
Yeah, kind of are.
The story is that some people in Chicago were asking on social media if there was a sort of dark wave version of lo-fi hip-hop, and nobody could really come up with anything.
Oh my God.
Well,
I just named a genre. Christoph for the win.
I know. Witch Hop
Yeah.
is actually a really good name.
Witch
I like
Hop
that.
is good, yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be less bells and and other creepy stuff. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I didn't mean to give too much away. we may or may not be doing this.
Yeah, we're still talking out ideas, but I do like the idea that calling it Robot Apartments is a great name for a band.
Yes.
So
I
That's
was
right.
asking myself a similar question around the time of RPM, and I don't know whether I succeeded or not, but I did. One of my tracks on my RPM album is actually kind of like I would describe it as kind of, it's got some dark wave in it, but it's more of like goth rock, lo-fi hip hop.
which track was that?
6, it's the untitled one.
Oh yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, Jeff, I
That's
feel
what
like we're in a
that's
unique
what they call
position
the,
to become a
underneath-
scene. Let's become a scene. There's 3 of us. It's
Yeah.
fair.
I'm into it.
Let's cause a scene.
Yeah.
We're
and
really
I
bad
will
about causing
plan a
scenes.
track that I will never finish or release.
Excellent.
Man. We need to hear more out of you, Christoph.
He does a really great cover of Warm Leatherette.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I would really like to hear that.
Yes, it's very good.
Is that sarcastic? I can't tell.
No, it is not sarcastic.
It is good.
Yeah,
It's
I really
a very
like
good
it.
cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I did that with a Novation Nova.
Nice.
And it sounds really, really cool.
It sounds mastered out of the box. It's just, it's an amazing little synth.
It is absolutely. It is my favorite cover of the 2 covers that I know of Warm Leatherette.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Well, the only ones that matter is the one by Das Christoph and the one by Grace Jones.
Okay.
Nice.
Fight me.
So Analog Brain did a really good one. Pankow did a good one.
No, they didn't. No, the only good ones were Das Christoph and Grace Jones. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Your
And
other,
Well, I'm looking forward.
so you just took a crap all over Peter Murphy and Nine Inch Nails' cover.
yes, I sure
Good
did.
for you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just awaiting
I'm through.
the Miley Cyrus version, since she feels that it's okay to cover the Cocteau Twins. So
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
that was not a good idea.
Yeah, it was not.
No. So yeah, so thank you all again for coming to the 10th show tonight. We have all kinds of news to talk about, and we encourage, of course, folks that are watching us on Twitch to please hang out and interact with us. If you are watching us over on YouTube or on Facebook and want to interact with us, you can't. So move over to Twitch, twitch.tv/IX Studios Cleveland, and then that way you can join in the conversation. And if there's no conversation, you can start one about any subject whatsoever, because the purpose of the show is the fact that we will tend to go off on ridiculous rails and talk about whatever. Sometimes we'll go from synthesizers to, what fart jokes are cool this month, or
To
the
how-
big piece of news, of course, is what just stupid cocktail that Jeff posted into our news feed. Yet unnamed. Do you have a name for it yet, Jeff?
No, I don't. It shouldn't be named or for the purposes of health and safety ever made.
Okay.
So
But it's
it'll-
very
it's
tasty.
okay, so I think he who shall not be named, like Voldemort, is probably a good name for this turn.
Yeah, maybe but vodka mort.
Yeah, the vodka mort.
Vodka mort.
Nice.
So
yeah, it's a good one.
So yeah, for those that are playing at home, if you want to give yourself alcohol poisoning, 2 shots of pineapple juice, 1 shot of lime juice, a half a shot of grenadine, 1 shot of dark rum, 1 shot of aged rum, 1/2 shot of 151 rum, 1/2 shot of velvet falernum, 1/2 shot of triple sec, 1/2 shot of Disaronno, 1/2 shot of cinnamon whiskey, 3 dashes of bitters, stir and add ice for color. Tread lightly, it's 5 shots per drink, and it tastes delightful. You can make a virgin version of this by just having 2 shots of pineapple juice and 1 shot of lime juice.
Really? There's like 7 kinds of rum in there. That's really gonna work. Oh, dude.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and thank you, Christoph, for posting that up into our chat.
Actually, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, if you otherwise, you can also just not drink it.
Yeah, that is the recommendation, but it's sort of like a slightly modified zombie is basically what it is.
I see.
But it's good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we can't call it the Pan Galactic Gargle Blaster because that's already been used.
Yes, yeah, many times over. But we can, however, call it the vodka mort.
Which I like.
I kind of like vodka mort.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
God.
It does that to your nose too, like that thing where his
It
nose
just
is just gone
disappears?
moving.
Yeah.
That's strong. Yeah.
It just gets
You know.
blue. It just gets comped out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ray Fiennes has such a nice nose. It's a real shame.
It is. It's sad that they actually had to reconstruct it afterwards because they chopped his nose off for that role. That's how
Well,
dedicated he was.
You know, method
He
actors.
He
You know
must have
how
gotten
it
paid
is.
really well.
No, they paid him in circus peanuts. Weird.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
made
it
more
was-
money from The English Patient, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
hmm
None of this is true.
Apparently, we've been drinking that shit too. Vodka mort. Anyway, so we jump into the news. Okay. Our first piece of news is the beautiful Russians over, a good comrade over in Russia, Soma, has been teasing the Reflex Vlad. I love Vlad. This guy is just a nutter, and he's fantastic. It was showing this off in a video, kind of previewing the Reflex, and it is a super expressive digital polysynth. And it's not even it's literally just like some circuit boards right now with some, held together with duct tape and markers, and a couple screws and everything like that. But it's, according to what he's saying, is that it's a revolutionary new digital 6-voice polyphonic synthesizer with several unique features and innovations, which we wouldn't, of course it is, because it's come from Soma. The real-time control and timbre and sound, merging the creation of timbres and the act of playing notes into a single process. Oh boy. He says it's the first complex synthesizer where the main goal is to give musicians direct access to the synthesis core, instantly playing dozens of synthesis parameters as artistically and intuitively as we play notes and velocity on, for example, a violin. So apparently there's this weird multi-dimensional sensor controllers that he's working on building for this thing and all kinds of crazy stuff.
But it's not a D-beam, though, right?
Oh, God, I hope it is. Apparently it's going to be between 13 and 1,400 euros. And they're expecting to release it in either next year or 2 years from now.
I think any other company, I would consider that a wild boast. But knowing what those folks can do, I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be very interesting. Their methods of control are always just bizarre and weird, and his entire philosophy on sound design and everything like that is just way out there.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his stuff. The only two devices I have are his two weirder devices, and that is the Soma Pipe, which is just so much fun, and the Quantum Ocean, which is just a mystery. So, what are your guys'
Didn't
thoughts?
they also make? Didn't they make basically like a radio that you could listen to trees with or something?
Yeah, they made a receiver that picks up EM frequencies and turns them into audible frequencies.
So you can hear screaming potatoes.
You can hear screaming potatoes and screaming fluorescent light bulbs and stuff like that, and listen to them through headphones. This guy is
Sounds awesome.
amazing, right? So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, let me start because I don't have that much. But what I will say is I feel like he's at the avant-garde.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the way that he pushes the envelope. And because he does have a lot of results. So people make these kind of boasts all the time. But the other important thing that he mentions is philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
There are philosophies to synthesis.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that have guiding philosophies frequently do really interesting things. And
Mhm.
all the philosophies are valid, like East Coast versus West Coast. And I love that. And I'll bet you that he comes up with stuff that when you explore with this thing, you're going to find things that you can't make any other way.
Mhm.
So that's interesting. Will it be useful? It depends. But I'm sure it's going to be exciting.
Will it
And
be
for
fun?
some,
And that's really the thing, right?
What?
Will it be fun, really? Because
Yeah,
in the end, is
also-
it going to be
yeah.
useful? Yeah, but it will be fun as hell to play with.
Well, yeah, it'll probably be fun. But also, it might inspire other ideas. And it's just going to push synthesis forward. So, hats off to him.
Yeah. I'm scaring Justin right now because
Well-
I picked up my Quantum Ocean.
It looks like a prop from the Guns of
God.
Navarone or something. I'm
I
waiting
thought
for
that
some
was a
bridge
History
to
Eraser
blow up.
I know, right? This is the history eraser button, right? And it comes with like the Quantum Ocean quick guide manual. And I love that as soon as you open the first page, it says, I wanted to share some weird and powerful techniques I discovered on the junction between electricity and shamanism, science, and spirituality. And it goes downhill from there.
Wow. That guy's going to give Eddie Newton a run for his money.
Yeah. So
liner notes.
This isn't so much an instruction manual as much as it is his manifesto for this thing.
That's
and
awesome.
It's weird.
Is it like the Dr. Bonner soap?
It doesn't go. He doesn't go into his crazy pants as that. He actually like has like some science in there and stuff like that. It's not just like new life when you clean your butthole or anything like that. And he gives you like step by steps on how to use this thing. But it's just a weird device. And I've played with it a couple of times, and I don't know if I've opened my third chakra or not, or my sixth eye or whatever it is. All I know is that I don't know my difference between my ajna and my mudahara anymore, and I taste colors. So it's a cool device.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like it'll have some lasting and deeply scarring psychological effects.
I hope so.
That has just inspired me that if we ever release a VST, we have to make it look like it's an Own Boys VST, and the manual has to look like the notebooks from Seven.
Nice. What I love are some of these plugins now that are targeting maybe sort of beginning producers. I think there's one called Drip or something, where it's like literally you hit the easy button. There's like no other buttons on it. Just hit the Drip button and magic happens. Like,
well, I saw
good.
They just released or they're releasing a pedal called the Placebo that doesn't do anything, or does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's So Jeff? What are your thoughts on the on Vlad and the reflex? The reflex. Sorry.
I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. I mean, I have intermittently sort of lusted and then said, no, that's totally not useful at all over the Pulsar 23.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so good. It might be the best sounding drum machine that I've ever heard, but I'm not sure how useful it is, to the point earlier. And then you could sample it, of course, but then you like at least 80% of the magic is gone.
Yeah.
Because so much of the magic is just the chaos of it.
Right.
And also with what's it, like the Lyra 8 is also like just very interesting to me how it has a lot of human interface. People have found all sorts of ways to do things with it. Like I saw a dude playing it with a cucumber a while ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I think it's probably going to be really interesting. I don't own any of his stuff, and I have been interested in all of it. So we'll see.
Well, it's one of those things that he like definitely embraces, like certain ideas of chaos and stuff like that, and using things that are in that are out there in the world as part of the experience of how these things are used. I have played with the Lyra 8 before, and it's an astoundingly weird and almost impossible to control piece of chaotic gear, but it's fun. And it's cool, and it does things that nothing else does, and that's really, I think, is where he's going with that. And being able to take that, like, chaos theory and bringing it into something that you can somewhat manage and work with is really an interesting musical idea, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
J. Rod Ohio says, I really like the sound of the Modor DR2. Not sure if I could justify the price, though.
Oh, the motor stuff is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like mostly VA, but it's got FM, and it's super cool.
Nice.
I don't know about the DR2. I can't remember the name of the first unit that came out. It was the one that Nick Bat said looked like a stormtrooper. Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember. Was it
one of the
NF
channels on the Pulsar is a bass channel. It's a great sounding mono.
NF1, thank you. Sorry, Kristen.
Yeah, it's a cool. I don't know. I'm really a big fan of what he does. I don't think I'm gonna buy everything that he does, but I don't know. I like that kind of like, it's like Nerds Gone Wild kind of thing. Level of like, I'm just gonna do this and see what people can. I don't care what happens in the end.
Yeah, he's kind of a modern Buchla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of
That's exactly it.
There's a modular company. I can't remember what they're called at the top of my head. They do this Eurorack modules, but they do these like they have like one of them that is literally like it's using that has a piece of uranium in it, and the uranium is decaying, and that's what it's using to make like whatever it is it's making.
Man.
You know, or there's one that has I think it has like a finger bone in it or something like that. And it's just like, what the fuck, kind of like.
Enjoy your Catholic relics.
Yeah,
along with
pretty much. Yeah, and they almost look like that. The design of them looks like these like Catholic relics, but they're like Eurorack gear. It's weird shit.
Good stuff. So I can't see the prime. Is that J-Rod? J-Rod, Ohio?
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I didn't even know about that.
The NF1?
No, the DR2. What kind of machine is it? Is it analog or PCM based? Sorry.
It'll take them a few minutes to get back.
Yeah, I didn't mean to derail.
That's the point of this, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was a really interesting interview that I watched.
Nice. Thanks, Tara.
With Todd Barton talking about Don Buchla, and essentially, you know, when he was having conversations when Buchla was designing, I guess it was the easel. I can't remember what instrument it was, but you know, they're talking about what should the control surface of this thing be, and you know, Don Buchla had been having conversations with people, and some people were saying, just, you know, put piano keys on it. That's what Bob Moog has done, just put some piano keys on it. And Todd Barton in this interview was talking about how he had said, you know, I want to make a different kind of music. I don't want it to have a keyboard because I don't want it to sound like anything else that's ever been made. I don't want to play it like anything else that's ever been played. Like, let's just do something new here. And I think that's one of the things that's going on with Soma in a lot of ways. Like, they're not particularly concerned with like, hey, can you write 4 on the floor dance music with this? Like, it's just whatever it is. Is the Lyra 8 repeatable? Can you get the same results out of it twice? I don't know. Maybe. Does anybody care? Nope. You can perform with it. Yeah. And it's the same thing with the Pulsar. Like, could you put on a great show with the Pulsar? Yes. Would it be what people are expecting if they just came in expecting, you know, like some, I don't know, club bangers or whatever? No, probably not. But I think that's the thing, you know, to Christoph, to your point about it being a philosophy, it really is sort of he's going after a new way of interacting with sound and a new way of thinking about music, and it's sort of asking people who engage with these devices to give a little bit more, I guess, in terms of, you know, what your conception of what's going to get out of it, like expand your thoughts around it. It's cool.
Yeah, and I think that's really the thing is that and that's I think what his philosophy kind of is like, you know, synthesis is so much of a lot of people do with synthesis is based upon taking, you know, things that are inside of a box, and he is very much about bringing stuff out in the outside world and bringing it in, whether it's like, you know, EM waves or something like that, and making that part of the experience. And just you know, and I think that, you know, part of what we do as musicians and, you know, producers and stuff like that is kind of explore and express our view of our world through music and stuff, and, you know, bringing the world along for the ride is even a cooler way of doing it, I think. The Pinball Narcissist, thanks for joining us from beautiful Columbus, Ohio, I guess, or are you like Columbus somewhere else? I don't know, but hey, welcome. Thanks for joining. Good to have you. In other news, TC Electronics want you to help pay for their failings, like they do, in that they just released, or they announced, or they're releasing the TC Electronic Juno 60 version 2 to replace their well-made version 1.
Heavily criticized.
It has improved circuits to make it more suitable for synthesizers.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Isn't it supposed to model a chorus that was built specifically for a synthesizer?
You know what? You would think so.
So? You know who wants us guitarists? And apparently they were wrong.
Yeah.
So they're putting a new one.
Yeah. When I think about the Juno 60, the first people that come to mind for me are for sure guitarists.
Yep.
Yep. Shredders all the way.
Yep. That's the first thing I think of too. John Haynes, thank you for coming and joining us. We were just talking about you before the broadcast started. Were your ears ringing? Were they being tickled? Yeah, so they put a circuit in here and a little switch that you can open the box up and you can flip it between keys and guitar for your input level. So the first version of this thing was very anticipated. People bought it. They didn't like it very much. So TC Electronic did what they did and put out a new version of it and said, here, you can buy it. The good news is that it's like under 40 euro, so it's like about under $50. So
Behringer is sideways competing with their own line of cheap guitar pedals.
yes,
which I think are like $20 or something.
yeah, right. Well, we'll release it. It's like when they release the.
It's our boutique line.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when they I don't know. I don't really give two craps about this personally, about choruses and stuff like that, especially like a pedal chorus. I don't use pedals for very much. I have choruses and stuff built in my modular already. The only pedals I really use is my Avalanche from Earthquaker Devices, and that's a great sounding pedal. But I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys thoughts about the quick turnaround as far as like, oops, we fucked up, so here you can buy this one?
Yeah,
It's on brand.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta remain consistent and true to your core values.
That's true.
Yeah, they really should exchange, or they should publish how to do the modification, because it's probably just swapping out a resistor.
Probably.
Yeah.
And adding a switch.
Yeah. I mean, the Juno chorus is a great sounding chorus, but it's also kind of a great sounding chorus in place. Like, it's a great sounding chorus because of the synthesizer that it was on. It did incredible things to that synthesizer.
Yes.
If it weren't sort of that it was, a synthesizer that really needed some help from a chorus like that in a time where a chorus was absolutely drenching everything from guitars to synthesizers and everything on up and down, it would have been a lot less compelling. Like if it had just been released as a Boss pedal, for instance, nobody would have there would have been aficionados who would have said, oh, that's a good sounding chorus, and it's a good sounding chorus, but it's not like it's sort of special in place.
I mean, I think its mission in life was to warm up some fairly static DCOs, right? And it did that super well. Does that super well.
Yep. And so when you put it on something that's thicker or a little bit more robust, I've always found that sort of sound of chorus is too much and doesn't work super well. So I don't know. It wouldn't have been a very compelling pedal to me to begin with, but this, it's just flop after flop. And there's so many good chorus pedals out there. The Avalanche Run is one of them. I've got a Way Huge Blue Hippo that sounds absolutely awesome. There's a lot of good options.
John Haynes says, isn't it kind of the same idea as the relatively quick update to RD8? Indeed. It's almost as if TC Electronic and Behringer are almost like taking the similar ideas of each other's playbooks. I wonder why they would do that.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think they may be affiliated.
And the way they announce this stuff is my favorite part. I hope they keep doing it because I love these announcements. They come out and they go, the one we made, it was trash. It was very bad. Garbage trash. Please continue buying in stores. They will be in stores for 3 months. We have a new one coming out that is no longer trash. Please buy the not trash one. But they just shoot themselves right in the foot.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go, no, just keep buying them. And people are like, people go out and just, I don't know, the white knighting that I see for them. I mean, there's as much on the other side. Like, I don't get people defending and like fighting for companies really in most cases. Small ones like Soma totally make sense to me. But, where you have these gigundo mega companies, people out there like shilling for them in that way is very funny to me. And
because it's not what Roland would do. Because what Roland would do is let it sell out and like, oh, do you want that? Wait a bit. Like, here's the new one.
Yeah. Or they would just be like, isn't that cool? By the way, we totally abandoned everything that has to do with that, and we're now moving on to a new technology because our CEO saw a didgeridoo and thought that was a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Roland. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. What?
No, Roland doesn't.
No, what?
Oh, I'm
Do
sorry.
Do they?
They may have. They may have abandoned some
Don't.
technology. But you know what? You can find D-beams and all kinds of shit, so you're fine.
That's true. Thank God. Wow. Yeah. So that thanks, TC Electronic. We appreciate the update to the chorus pedal, and this is probably why they don't send us stuff to review.
Yeah, we're a little honest.
Kind of jerks, aren't we?
We kind of are.
Yeah. Okay, I'm the jerk. Everyone else is trying to be nice.
No, I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
only good at one.
I think if we took a vote, I think Andrew and Christoph would be the bad cop, and I think Jeff and I would be the good cop. Maybe. I don't
Maybe. Well, no, I don't know.
know.
I think that maybe all of us are just kind of. I think all of us are just. Kind
I
of
think
curmudgeons.
we're all pretty much ineffective. So.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
That's another reason why we don't get review products. Also, our legal department commander Root, who was on here for a little bit and has since left, has not been helping us get this stuff together. Maybe we should.
Yeah, I sent over some contracts and none of them got signed. It was weird.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can should we move him over to things like maybe he can be like our PR instead of legal.
Yeah, or I mean, I think probably there's probably an opening if we're cool with just beating the bar that TC and Behringer have set for ethics.
Mm-hmm.
He could handle the ethical
Oh,
complaints.
that's a good idea.
department, too.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have Commander Root. I should just make him a mod on our channel. Really.
I thought Root was our fluffer.
Oh my gosh, I thought he was our HR director. I guess we're all confused.
HR director, fluffer. It's really six one way, half dozen the other around here, isn't it?
Yikes! If you're watching the show, call the police.
Rain sticks are cool, John Haynes. I mean, there's something kind of neat about that. They never stop being magical.
It's true.
What, rain sticks?
Rain sticks, and they never stop
Yeah.
sounding like rain.
Wow, dude. How much peyote do you put in your cornflakes, dude?
Just enough to make the rain stick endlessly entertaining. Just enough, not 1 gram more.
J. Rod Ohio says the new Dreadbox synths have me excited. Well, stay tuned, my friend. We'll be covering those and discussing those and tearing those apart. Maybe, who knows? Actually, I like Dreadbox stuff, so I like them as a company. So I don't have a problem with them like I do. Other places. Anyway, speaking of shitty things, according to FOSS Post, an independent news site that covers open source software, the open source audio software called Audacity, which many people know and love, may now be spyware. They were acquired by a company called the Muse Group a while ago, and its developers want to make it phone home with various data taken from users' machines. They have a updated privacy policy page, which that's a good.
That was a mouthful of Manhattan.
I know
there.
that's the updated alliteration. For Audacity includes a wide range of data collection mechanisms. It states, for example, that it can hand any user data to state regulators where it is located, which is basically Russia, USA, and the EEA zone. All your personal data is stored on our servers in the European Economic Area. However, we are occasionally required to share your personal data with our main office in Russia and our external counsel in the USA.
Wow. I'm shocked to find gambling going on here.
I know, right? So they have also since forked the thing too.
Good God.
And apparently the plans appear to be evolving, so nothing has really been finalized as far as this whole thing is concerned. The Tech Radar said that the company reversed their initial plans for data collection, but the privacy policy was dated. They said that in May, but the privacy policy that says that they are doing the data collection was updated in July.
Here's an idea. Why not just charge money for something that everybody loves and we'd probably pay something for?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not advocating. I like that it's free, but...
Well, you can't because of the license.
Yeah, because it's
Because it was built on an FOSS license.
Yep.
Well, how are they able to be commercial at all then?
What?
Oh, I see. So the only way to squeeze money out of the software is to insert malware, basically, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Because they can't technically sell it for what it is.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Because of previous licensing. won't
Got
allow
it.
it.
Yep.
They've also tried to say, and I don't know if this is true or not, but, well, no, what they've said, it is true that they've said this. I don't know if what they've said is true. That it has to do with the European privacy legislation, that they're saying that it really is about telemetry to improve the software, and that because it's crossing country lines and all the regulations that were put in place by the thing that the name of it is escaping me right now, the EU privacy regulations.
Yeah.
They're saying that it's related to that, but there's still so much like open room where it could not be about that, and it's, I don't know, it's
I don't
weird.
think you need the telemetry. I think people will. I mean, Audacity is popular enough that people will tell you what's broken on it.
Right.
Yeah,
So
And-
this is just a scam for spying because spying is big money.
Yep.
I would imagine that's probably true too. And you mentioned the fork, and the fork has also been just like a source of chaos and drama. So there was like a whole bunch of doxing that went on with the person who did the fork, and I'm not up to date on the full story, but apparently maybe there's more than one fork too. But one of the people who did the fork was really like targeted and harassed by other people who didn't like the way that it was being forked. It's just, I don't know. It's really exposed a whole side of the I don't know if it's free software, if it's just Audacity, but it's exposed a side of something that is super ugly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of open source development is very ugly.
So there's the developers behind Audacity shared an announcement. There's a later update that their privacy policy page, their alliteration page, was, quote, misunderstood due to poor wording in it, and that they will rewrite it to avoid possible confusion. Error reporting and basic information collection is opt-in, but automatic update checking, which sends your IP address to them at every usage, is opt-out.
This sounds like damage control to me.
Yeah, it might be as well. Yeah, and you can, there's a GitHub. The GitHub page for Audacity has the. It was 9 days ago they put the thing up there. So we'll see what comes up as far as that's concerned.
Interesting.
John Haynes says, speaking of the rain stick, I was at an expo of Salgado photography of the Amazon with an ambient soundtrack composed for it by Jean-Michel Jarre. You lucky bastard. I love that. I love that album so much. Amazonia is an amazing album.
It is so good.
That's on at the Philharmonie de Paris. I was buying said soundtrack at the shop before leaving, and there was a random rain stick just lying there on its own at the counter, so I acquired it.
Nice.
John Haynes also says that I'm pretty sure that's just telemetry for software improvement. Tantacruel recently joined them and announced that he wants to overhaul the UI to make it much more usable, and he's a data-driven guy. So that's that. John Haynes
Is data-driven guy the new way of saying creep?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's a fetishist for Star Trek characters.
Yeah.
Ooh, it is a new way of saying creep, Christoph.
For how can this be? For he is the Kwisatz Haderach.
Oh my God. He's the data mining expert. There's no
You know, it's
spice
funny.
on this
Before
mine.
Next Generation, we said data, not data. But because of the way that Patrick Stewart pronounces data,
Mr. Data.
or data, we now say it data instead of data.
I've always said data.
I'm not so sure if when I was like
But
16 or something that I knew. I don't know. Maybe I did use the
My
word
dad
data.
my dad was very much involved in electronics and like that kind of stuff and data analysis.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
we were raised to call it data analysis, not data analysis.
Huh.
yeah,
But it is
I
true. That
remember
is the UK
program-
way to say data.
Yeah.
back before I was born, I would say database, not database.
You know, I have heard that
Yeah.
mostly on the East Coast, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Fucking New Yorkers. Oh, hi, Christoph.
We are.
Bunch of-
It's that mid-Atlantic accent you guys are capable of copying when you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, just funny looking, eh?
Right.
Sorry.
But yeah, John Haynes, jealous of you for being able to go to that exhibit because it'd be really cool. I have that Jean-Michel Jarre album on vinyl as well as on the binaural thing that he set up as well, and it's wonderful.
Long live JMJ.
Right? Totally. Do you know who he's married to?
I do not.
Bai Ling.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. From she's an Asian actress, Chinese actress.
Yeah.
She was in. Have you ever seen The Curse of the Golden Lotus?
I have not.
Beautiful movie. She was in that. She was like.
Is it one of those sort of Hong Kong type of?
It's one
not
of the,
wire
it's-
fighting, but beautiful sort of.
Yeah, kind of. It's
dramas.
it's like one of those costume dramas.
Yeah.
From and it's just amazing.
Very cool.
So yeah. Next up is the Mod Wave is available for pre-order, and every YouTuber but us has one.
Yeah.
Korg,
Come on, Cor. What's
come on, Korg.
the deal, man?
We can do
Korg.
it. Let's just send each of us one, or we can just all drive and meet somewhere. Where would we all meet? Probably somewhere in like either Pennsylvania or West Virginia, huh?
Pennsyltucky, yeah.
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 We'd be in Pennsylvania. We can all meet in like some seedy motel and start like reviewing.
I think we should
synthesizers.
meet at the last remaining Mr. Heroes on the east side of Erie, Pennsylvania.
Or there's that place in Erie, Pennsylvania that sells Jelly Bellies and martial arts supplies and fireworks.
I just want to say that Cleveland is not the mistake on the lake. It is, in fact, Erie. I hope I'm not offending too many
But
people.
they have a store that sells Jelly Bellies and martial arts supplies and fireworks.
Yeah. Okay.
So they got that going for it. I mean, that could be our shtick as far as reviewing gear. We all meet in the middle in like some seedy motel in the middle of fuck knows where, and discuss this stuff before we get shot.
I feel like I'm going to be
Loaded
arrested.
with
We'll
Fire-
attach fireworks to it and
Yeah.
see how it responds.
and-
It's like,
and-
will it blend? Will it explode?
Will it nunchuck? And we'll like.
You
I
realize
would say nice
no one's
things.
sending
I
us
I
shit,
think I
man.
would say nice things about the Mod Wave. I like a lot of the Korg stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah.
been really happy with the Korg things that I've had. I mean, I didn't really vibe with the Volca
Mm-hmm.
setup, but the Korg things that are made for human hands.
It's funny because I watched a couple of demos with this thing, and it seems really, really powerful. But it didn't give me the immediacy of the sort of D50 clones that Roland did of their stuff, where I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds just like that, you know.
Mhm.
But it also didn't sound as cool as some of Korg's other stuff, you know, like the Op6 to me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to get into the wavetable space again in hardware, and that's super cool. And this may work for someone. And it looks, though, a little menu divey and a little tough to wrap the old noggin around.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of my thought with it as well. I mean, motion sequencing is really cool. I have a wave state, and I'm considering getting rid of it. Because I'm not really clicking with it. I don't really like the interface, and to me, it feels like that's the interface that they're going for right now. Because obviously they're just putting the software into the same hardware right now, and
Yeah.
that's kind of I don't know. I'm not like a big.
Right.
I'm having a tough time gelling with it. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad. This is just like that. But I'm just really picky with UI.
Yeah, but what they're doing is taking impenetrable menu divey digital synths of the olden days and putting them in a chassis with the case with a bunch of knobs on it, which is maybe something we all would have dreamed of at the time that these synths were out.
Right.
The reality of it is that necessarily useful for this? I mean, I almost feel like the Op6 is maybe the most intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the Op6, and the thing about any of the wavetable wave morphing stuff is it is still kind of at its heart like either a sampler or a subtractive synth.
Right.
Like you're just changing out what is the oscillator,
Mm-hmm.
really, and it's in this case it's some sort of like a weird chaos padified wave, and it's like I heard some things that sounded really cool out of it. It didn't grab my attention though that much.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I think that is different to your point about the Op6 is that it's a different kind of synthesis, right? You know, getting really good, powerful FM synthesis in an approachable factor has not been a real thing. Like I think the Digatone is pretty good, but it's too fewer operators and it lacks a lot of the power of the Op6. And then the stuff that does have power, like some of the current Yamaha FM synths that you can get, that some of 8-op stuff, it's gonna take you 8 months to make your first sound on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather, I mean, we've talked about this before, but I would rather use like, FM8 or something. I'd rather use software for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what this wants. The ModWave wants a computer interface because Wavetable just kind of lends itself to having a big screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that big screen. And I'm sure they consider it, but the cost of adding a screen puts the development cost up enough that they're not going to break even on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and these three products, the Wave State and Op6 and the ModWave, are, as John Haynes is pointing at, they're all from the California productive team, as opposed to like the other one, in I think Japan or London or wherever they're at this week. And so they all have they're all in the same chassis, they're in the same pretty much like build form factor, and I think that it's a smart move as far as being able to push these puppies out there, as they're all in a very similar die and everything like that. As far as the hardware creation is concerned, they're all running the same OS. I'm partially wondering, if you could flash one into another one somehow, and then use the Chaos pad to do some shit that the XY pad would normally be doing.
Yeah, I mean that's
XY
the
joysticks and stuff like that.
The slick thing on this one is the Chaos.
Right.
Chaos letter style.
Right.
For sure it is. Yes.
I suspect you can't. I think I don't think I don't think the Raspberry Pi has the power to be like the sole unit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an RPI slaving to another board so that they can use the RPI as like a controller firmware USB, and then it's controlling this other board with a few chips. Because otherwise, I just don't think the RPI has the power to do like this many voice real-time synthesis.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
you can do that kind of flash.
Mm-hmm.
That said, because you've got these fairly inexpensive synths that have a fair amount of power in the same form factor, I do think that this will probably be successful because Wavetable is so hit with all the dub guys and the technical people. So, and it's easy to use. So people might buy, like the people that, not the people who are really making dubstep, which is still mostly Serum,
Right.
and those people are computer based. But all the people that hate computers and want to make those sounds, they will buy this.
Sure. No doubt. Yeah, and I think that right now my big thing is the Wave State that I have is buggy. And that's a thing, right? And I'm really wishing that, and I know that they're trying to crank out product at the moment, but they really need to continue working on this because I'll boot this thing up and it'll just crash. I'm not even doing anything. It's just crashing at startup kind of stuff. I've, reflashed it. I wiped it and, went back to factory default and blah, blah, blah. And it still does it. And it's kind of And that kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. If I can't turn on my synth and start using it, and, if I have to spend an hour troubleshooting it, I don't know if I want to keep it around.
So this is where all the Windows ME developers ended up, I think.
Maybe. Yeah, right?
That damages your branding.
Yeah, it really does.
You need to fix this before you keep releasing because people aren't going to trust your platform.
Yeah, and the Wave State came out last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the first of this trio, and it's just kind of okay, well, can we get a fix on this thing? And just crickets. So
that's lame.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's interesting to me about some of this too is that a lot of these companies, I would put Waldorf in this camp.
Mm-hmm.
Has done the same thing. They have just tried to cram so much stuff in there
when
really probably the better thing to do would be to curate it really tightly and give people sort of, I don't know, smart, interesting stuff to use rather than everything to use. And I think the HydraSynth does that really well. It's not exactly the same thing. I mean, you can get to a lot of wavetable type stuff with it that I think is pretty compelling. But it does it so nicely. The UI on it is so good. It sounds good. It's got some really cool exploratory stuff that you can get through. That's actually why I wouldn't be terribly interested in either the Wave State or the ModWave, is because I think that the HydraSynth does. It's not trying to be sort of a modern update of an older classic synth.
Right.
It's just its own thing, and I think the way that it's doing a lot of that is actually just frankly a lot more interesting.
No, I agree completely.
I mean, I have the Iridium and the HydraSynth, and I do see what you're saying about Waldorf because they just threw everything in the bloody kitchen sink into this thing, and sometimes you're just like, where do I even start?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Yeah.
the Hydrosynth has a real East Coast left to right workflow that is totally intuitive to any long-term synthesist. And
Yeah.
but yet they still have like pretty slick. They've solved that problem that I was describing earlier, which is how do you make digital stuff work in a sort of knobby left to right workflow?
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of a thing is like the idea that we need to fill this, we need to do this, like fill this puppy up like a shopping bag and a board and in a board grocery store worker kind of idea, like how much crap can we put into this thing, and how much of this how much are you going to sit there, like I sit there at the wave state and I look at this, like the motion sequencing and stuff like that. I'm like, this is really powerful, how you can do so many things with this sample and blah 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 blah, and I look at it, I'm like, do I really care that I can do that much stuff? I'm like, I don't even want to. I mean,
Yeah.
I would like to have things instead, like, I don't know, like, maybe I could bring in my own samples. No, can't do that. But
How about like some Juno 60 chorus emulation on it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or like I mean, they have every single fucking filter emulation under the sun on that thing, which is great. But
Yeah.
but of course, no.
Weird. That's a weird
and just
choice.
like some interesting choices and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, and I the interface is just kind of it's if you're going to give me that much amount of advanced things to do on the wave state, then having that tiny little screen and having to menu dive that much, it just kind of gets a little bit old and boring really quickly.
Yeah.
I like
that was what got me with the Kyra. Like I saw Christoph, you posted in the chat there. I had one and 4,096 samples like single cycle waves
Mhm.
in it, organized basically like a chimpanzee just throwing them at different folders. It was great sounding, really wonderful audio quality and everything, but man, super hard.
Mhm.
Don't know where to start. And I feel like that would be the worry that I would have with a lot of this stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Kyra is actually interesting. I know we're tangenting here. I mean, I played with it at NobCon,
Mhm.
and it felt real access virusy to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if if you're looking for that but not, that's probably where I would land. I mean,
Well, that's why I had gotten it actually, and it just never would gel. But it did. The worst thing
Sure.
about it, if anybody wants to know what the worst thing about the Waldorf Kyra is, and this actually wouldn't have been that bad if they made it super upfront. You must be using a DAW to control the Waldorf Kyra.
oh,
If you are not going in over USB with USB MIDI, where you have an infinite number of assignable channels, like if you're working with, I mean, I'm sequencing everything from a pyramid. The computer is really not part of the equation for the stuff that I have in here.
interesting.
If you are not doing that, that bastard eats 8 MIDI channels, and you can't change that.
Wow.
It just eats them.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
No, it is the worst. You have to change it every time you change the patch.
Oh my God.
If you want it to not eat up 8 MIDI channels, you have to go like every time you change something, you have to go tell it, no, back down.
Weird. Yeah, I wonder how much of that is because the original designer was an English guy.
Yeah, it was because they bought it because
yeah.
it was originally called the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all proud about the FPGA stuff, which he should be.
Mhm.
It was really
Yeah.
cool. But I think that you would think that would be what Waldorf would offer. It's like,
Right.
hey, we're a big company. We can help you with OS and control and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And interestingly, I guess they chose not to.
Yeah,
I think they actually went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a design and a different case for it and everything, and they put it in. It looks like because it in the original not far apart from one another. They were clearly in development inside Waldorf at the same time.
The shape
And
of the
it looks like
chassis
they
and the
took-
depth
yeah.
and weight are identical. Yeah.
Yes, it looks like they took whatever he had and went like, well, look, we've got this other one. We're gonna make it fit, and it really feels like it.
Mm-hmm. It feels forced.
Yeah.
And the interface is just weird.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the Arturia Origin, except worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, the Arturia Origin was more sensible, but just sort of that sort of like matte white color and the, I don't know. hard. It was actually kind of hard to read stuff on it. I forget what the colors were, Jeff. It was like maybe blue or something. Blue on like a creamy white.
Mm-hmm.
The Kyra is white with, or like a creamy white with gray text.
Gray, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, and so it angles up like the Iridium does,
Mhm.
and the way where they printed the labels, unless you like get up on top of it and stand like this on top of it, the knobs get in the way of the labels.
Nice.
That's well thought out.
Yeah. Well designed.
It was incredible.
Go German engineering.
Yeah, it's funny because Waldorf's channel on YouTube, I haven't seen much Kira stuff. Like they've spent more time talking about the STVC string machine than they have the Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's J Rod says I think Waldorf has totally abandoned the Cairo, which is sad. Which I mean that's the thing. I see that with not enough product, and it's just like why do you keep doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Waldorf likes unfinished synths.
Yeah,
Thank you.
they really
Thank
do.
you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. I was hoping that would pop up.
Do what I can.
Yeah, I'm glad you took the hint. Yeah, and it's interesting to me because it's like, at what point are you making a synthesizer, and what point are you making a workstation?
And you can be like either of them is fine, but people just need to do a better job of being super clear about it.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
So what's next?
Well, I don't know about y'all, but I haven't experienced DP in a while. And now
Come again?
and now DP goes to 11.
Is that Dr. Pepper?
That is actually Motu's digital performer.
Nice.
I love when I saw the sign that says DP11. I'm like, whoa! It sounds like the sequel to my first porn movie.
Oh my gosh. The sequel.
And my second.
Good Lord.
So when you see that, all we need to see is like kink.com presents.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
Brought to you from the creators of kink.com.
Yes. Or, Brazzers.
Oh my gosh.
Not that I watch that stuff. Christoph tells me all about it. I am always taking notes on our conversations. This is how I learn more about your human ways. John Haynes.
We are from France.
Yeah. No, John Haynes is from France.
Oh, hi, John.
Yeah. we're not.
France.
Yeah. So Motu has released Digital Performer 11, a major updates that adds Nano Sampler 2.0, articulation maps, MPE support, audio retrospective record, native Apple Silicon support, and more. Okay. So both Jeff and I posted up about DP11. Jeff and I are both really into DP. Jeff forgot about DP. Did you forget about DP, or did the world forget about DP?
I've
I
actually
think
never
I
heard of
didn't even know, and it's very funny. Like when I started looking at it, it just looks like, I mean, all DAWs are becoming the same thing.
Yes.
They're all just like merging into one homunculus, like globular mess thing. And
DAW.
yes,
I am
it is.
DAW of the DAW
And
people.
So it's like this one looks like it looks like it describe Pro Tools and Ableton badly to a UI designer and just go. And I didn't know that Motu made a DAW at all, and now I do.
It's a really old DAW.
Yeah, it's a very old DAW. It's been around for years.
Yeah,
30 years.
It's been
Yeah.
it's been about
I missed the memo.
it's been around for about as long as DP has.
Yes. I know bands that use it. I have friends who use it. So I think Bile uses it now. My friend Chris Smack uses it. So yeah. So it's just if you get into a workflow of a DAW, you kind of get stuck there because you have to reinvent the wheel, or you have to relearn everything to be able to do the same things you can do quickly in another DAW. So for those users, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And unlike a lot of other things, It was originally Mac only, and they expanded include a PC product.
Well,
Well,
nobody's
Apple's
perfect.
gonna buy them. If you want to get rid of it, Christoph, you should download a copy of it, pay for it, and then Apple will buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
No, once it doesn't happen until I become dependent on it. And
Yeah.
then,
There you go. Then
no
it will.
more.
No more.
Yeah.
Gone.
Could
Yeah.
you figure out a way to do your stream from it?
Yeah. It is one of the very first DAWs.
Interesting.
That came around. That's what John Haynes was saying is one of the earliest DAWs, and it is. It's been around for a very long time, and it was made by Motu, and those guys were like one of the premier of computer audio interfacing for musicians and stuff like that. So I see that they
Back then, you didn't call it even Motu. It was the whole name.
it was the Mark of the Unicorn.
Mark of the Unicorn, yeah.
Mark of the Unicorn's DP. Actually, I think back then it was
Getting
just Performer.
worse.
I think it was just Performer back then, so it was just P.
Nice. Yeah, I think John Haynes asked a question about the Iridium. As far as I know, there is nothing really from the Kyra in there. It was kind of a sideways port from the Quantum, which I think came out before that.
So I looked it up. So Digital Performer came out in 1990.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's not a spring
an
chicken.
OG.
Mm-hmm. So I mean,
Well-
it's good, and that's the thing and that's really the thing is whether or not we know it exists, whether or not we know people who use it. People have been using it since 1990s. But people have been using it to cut their teeth on these things, and so it is good that they are still making it. Because I mean, Motu probably doesn't make as much money off of that as they do with their interfaces. But the fact that they're still updating it, they're still supporting it for modern machines and stuff like that. They're still streamlining and working on it. It's a very important thing. And you do get, and it's just like what you're saying. It's like you do get dependent on a specific workflow and everything like that. And some people, I've never played with Digital Performer before, but I would imagine that people found it to be just what they need. And there's nothing, and that's good. I'm a person that is a DAW prostitute. Like, if you pay me, I will learn to play with your DAW.
To quote the Venture Brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
A prostitute.
Yeah, I'm a DAW
Prostitute.
I use a lot of DAWs, and I've never learned to use a DAW as well as I knew the old version of Cakewalk. And I don't
Nice.
mean Sonar.
Sure.
I mean
Cakewalk.
Cakewalk before it became Sonar.
Mhm.
It had things that it could do. You could run these scripts on it, so you could like rearrange your MIDI data in a way that I can't do with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I will say,
So I mean, yeah. So you get addicted to these things, and it really screws you when they go away.
I see cats using like
Now-
Nuendo,
I
man.
just-
People are
what'd you
still
say?
using Nuendo. It's
Mhm.
freaking blows my mind.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
And by the way, although Digital Performer's been around since '90, it was around as Performer for 5 years before that with less features.
Mm-hmm.
So it's old. It's got a legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
And,
sure that
but
there's
yeah,
a
I
lot
know
of
people-
studios that still use it because they've always used it.
And there's also a lot of studios like you've got to have what artists coming in have,
Mm-hmm.
so they have them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know Bile has switched interfaces a lot of things recently, but they recently switched to Digital Performer.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, a lot of people still use it.
Yeah.
And in the end, regardless of whatever DAW is our favorite or hip, you just need to get your notes organized and your music out.
Right.
So whatever works.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's like I switched over from Logic over to Studio One, and I still love Logic for what it does. There's certain things that Logic does incredibly well, and then I switched from Reason over to Logic, and there's still things that I use that Reason does incredibly well. And I've used Bitwig, and there's some things that Bitwig does incredibly well. That I've used Cubase, and there's nothing that Cubase does incredibly well. And but now it's like, oh, Studio One, I can do so much stuff so much faster, and they're just all about like, let's make your workflow incredible. And I'm like, okay, and you do it, But I'd be willing to try some DP.
I've got just too many DAWs.
If you're up for it.
You know what? I feel like this is the joke that will never stop.
Probably never will.
It's really their own goddamn fault, though.
Yeah, it really is. Or is it the inventors of
Well,
DP?
for a good bottle of tequila.
Oh my gosh.
John Haynes says about jumping back. It's just I thought that the Iridium had additional sound engines that were a bit like the Kira in it, but maybe I misunderstood that.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I just I did an A to B comparison between the quantum and the iridium, and other than the analog filters, it looked like the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows what's going on under the hood?
Yeah.
So.
I think that's correct that the quantum and the iridium are. I mean, it's basically like one has a keyboard and one doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Kyra John has. I mean, so as people have said, it really is meant to be the sort of the spiritual successor of the virus. It's really, that's really what it was coming from. And the reason I thought it was interesting was because, the chip that goes into the virus is going out of production, or has now gone out of production. And they're, yeah. So, repairing those things over time is a concern. The way that they have sort of abandoned the TI stuff with it, and it's not as easy to work with it with a computer without it.
Is Access even still a thing? I mean, they started making guitar amp emulators.
Yeah, they make the
Access
Kemper
got bought by
profiler.
another company,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and they just kind of shifted their focus. They do have a synth coming out that Hartman is working on the mechanical design of, but it
Nice.
is not going to be a Virus 3.
Yeah.
And
But-
I don't think a Virus 3 is happening. I think they're going to have to abandon that engine because the chip architecture has been ended by Motorola.
Yes, it's been gone for a while.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I think without certain DSP functions, it doesn't work. And I don't think they're going to invest the money to make something else work with that hardware because, you're reinventing the wheel. And people don't buy digital synths like that anymore.
Yeah.
When you're going to get slaughtered by a VST instead.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to dump the money in it.
DSPs just don't scale that way, and they can't really. You think ASIC and DSPs, you think they're going to be more effective, but in reality, like the DSPs, Tiger Shark DSPs, and the Origin, for example,
Really, I mean, they're not.
I could tax
compatible.
it. I could make it squeal, uncomfortably.
Yeah.
More about
But
this
I
DP.
mean, because it's a different instruction set, and so a chip with a different instruction set, the calls aren't going to be the same, and the code's just not going to work. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the code's probably all in assembler, and so redoing that assembler code for a different chip is just a monumental project that, in today's market is never going to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think we'll ever see a Virus 3.
So they're going to all of a sudden gain a lot of cachet and start costing $3,000 on reverb. I look forward to that.
They already
Don't they
cost like
already
3-5.
cost
Yeah, they already cost $3K new.
Really?
$7
Yeah,
grand.
There's so many of them they
actually-
made. I can't keep
weird.
track of them.
It's the only digital synth that's just constantly gone up in value.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They're just such man. Otherwise, I would own one. I'm not going to take my high horse here. I love the Virus. I just can't afford one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they were already that popular.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been because I've had a bunch of used ones fall through like over the last 20 years, so since I was 9, and they just keep always falling through, and it's just never going to happen for me,
Mhm.
and they're never going to go down in value unless it's really broken.
Right.
They've had so many versions, I don't know much about them, but there was one version like about 10 years ago. I think it was almost the last release version. And I felt like it was a slightly dumbed down version.
The snow.
Snow.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the snow. Yeah.
Yeah. Not your favorite
Yeah,
Montreal
covered
rapper
in
and DJ.
interface.
I still like.
So yeah, less interface, less power.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You can get the keyboard version of it, which apparently, if you're in Poland and you put it too close to a radiator, the keyboard melts. And that's if you've ever seen Daniel Meyer's TI Snow that he sold. The keyboard was literally like scooped up in the middle because it was next to a radiator after they were done playing a show, and it still worked fine. It just, and the keys didn't obviously, but everything else was fine. They were using it to. They're using it with a MIDI controller instead.
So they can't play it like Zorak from Space Ghost.
Yeah, and he sold it on eBay finally.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's I'm glad I like that. I feel that John Haynes was getting very uncomfortable with me constantly saying DP and just wanted to steer the conversation away.
Nice.
So he's like, "But the Kira." Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah. So
Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry, John.
we'll stop talking about the DP. Other than I'm glad that I'm glad that DP is still there, and I'm glad that people are still enjoying DP.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Nothing.
But I stopped drinking Dr. Pepper, and now it's all seltzer because I'm trying to make less Cree stuff.
Ah, there you go.
Nice.
I mean, I always enjoy DP, Digital Performer. It sounds like a great product. So yeah. Arturia is
You like
helping us get rid of black plastic by covering everything that they make in black now. They're very happily now making available the Keysteps, the Keystep Pro in a black edition. So that's good. Moving on.
Not really sure what you can say about
Yeah.
that. I appreciate the
Yay.
aesthetics. It's
Yeah.
I'll buy it
good.
in any color as long as it's black.
Or white.
Yeah.
Black is the new black.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not
Black
white.
is
I'm
new
not
white.
buying if it's white.
No.
I
That's
mean,
an automatic no for me.
Yes.
They did this with the key labs. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty
That's what
sensible.
I'm saying.
So
Everything
whatever.
is now. Everything
Sure.
now comes in 2 colors. So good. And they also did that with the brutes, the poly brute
Yeah, and the Matrix.
and the matrix brute.
Yeah.
So you can get the expensive and the affordable in beautiful darkness. Christoph, you sent this in the synth emulator plugin could bring the Access Virus, Nord Lead, and Waldorf Q to your DAW. Let's talk about that a little bit, shall we?
Yeah. So if this happens and it doesn't get shut down, this could be a real game changer. Because just as we were saying, the virus is going to disappear. There's not going to be more of them. Eventually, I don't know how many Access stockpiled, but eventually there's no more. And somebody's come out with an emulator for that chip, so it must run a virtualized, version of it. And if you own an Access Virus, and you can put the ROM, you can load the ROM, and you may be able to recreate the sound of your Access Virus with your computer if your hardware dies. And as long as you own an Access Virus, then you legally have access to the ROM under current legislation. You wouldn't be able to shoot anybody. You wouldn't be able to run more than one copy. But this is a fascinating development. And again, the virus is a legend for a reason. I've heard so many people say it's the perfect synth. There's a couple things I wish it could do, but no one can contest its impact on electronic music over the last 20 years. And the ability to have it on your computer and not there's been a virtual virus before with TC, the Power Core. I can't remember. TDM? Who made that?
That was TC Electronics, wasn't it?
Was it TC Electronics with the Power Core? But it wasn't a real virus. It didn't sound the same, and people who had it knew. This could be a real game changer if it works. It's not a real product yet. I don't think it'll ever be sold, because it's kind of sketchy legally. But it'd be really interesting if this happens. So they have a working prototype. So to what degree, I don't know. I don't have an Access Virus. I don't have a ROM. I can't test it. Nor do I have a computer modern enough to run this kind of thing.
Right.
So because it does need a fast and powerful machine. But there could be code optimization later. So we'll see.
For
We got
anybody
some
looking
John
for
Haynes
a...
about this.
Oh, sorry, Christoph, go ahead.
We have some updates from John Haynes about this. He writes, that project isn't that new, but it got mothballed for a while, as TechnoBear informed us.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And he also says that if you've got the source code, it can't be that hard to write a parser to auto-translate the code to another processor. Instruction sets between processors aren't so different as all that.
Well, it depends. Like the difference between a Motorola DSP and an x86 processor is very different. That's why there's been that dependence on those chips. Those Motorola chips aren't just used in the Access Virus; they're also used in a lot of Novation products, like the Novation Nova, the Supernova. So, yeah, there won't be any more of those either, and those won't be repairable.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have access to the ROM and this doesn't go all the way through, and you don't want to spend $12,000, they've obviously gone up from 3 to 12 since we've been talking about.
well, because we just hyped it up.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have that effect. On
We're
reverb.
influencers, people.
It's what we
Yeah,
do here. We make
exactly.
reverb uncomfortable for the masses.
Yes.
There is a synth called Viper that's a VST that is a very, very credible emulation of the virus. I think if you did some A/B tests between it and the virus, it isolated, you probably could, some people would be able to tell the difference if if you were really like keying in on specific things that the virus did in a certain way. But in a mix, I can't imagine that almost anyone would hear the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Viper by Adam Sasbo.
Yeah, it sounds very, very good.
I think in some ways, though, something like the Axis virus is maybe a better, and I'm not saying this negatively, but a better contestant for purely digital emulation because it's very, very digital UA synth and, or VA, sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's got, to your point, Christoph, I mean, in EDM and EBM both, it's played a huge part. I mean, it's kind of like to those types of music, it's their JP8000.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
Yeah. And also, if you turn the effects processor off on it, you can make it sound like a lot of other things. It is a rich synth. It's got a lot of LFOs and envelopes. Its filter structure is good. A big part of what makes it sound like where you can just hear that's a virus is that the effects chain is very distinct.
Right.
And so it has sound and it instantly sounds a virus. Just like the Kurzweil, if you use the Digitech chip, you can instantly pull it out because it's a terrible effects chip. But when you turn the effects chip off, then it can sound more flexible.
Interesting.
And that's the big thing for turning off like the virus sound is to not use its effects processor.
Wow, I did not know that. That's cool. I always learn something new from you, Christoph.
Again,
Thank you.
I don't own one, but
Sure.
I used to be in a band with one, and this guy made the best sounds with it. And it didn't sound like anything else.
Mm-hmm. Nice. John Haynes says the comment about parsing was made before we brought up the run on X86 subject. I was thinking more to run on another DSP.
Well, the problem is nobody's making those kind of DSPs anymore because the market changed. That's why Motorola stopped. So yeah, they used to make and I think that chip was largely meant for telecommunications, and but yeah, the whole market kind of dropped out, and that's why they stopped the whole line. It wasn't just that one DSP chip. Motorola ended that whole family of chips, and they don't make any anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And I think, or actually, it might have been Texas Instruments took over that line. I think there might have been a difference from manufacturers, but eventually they just cut the whole family because that's just not how the telecommunications equipment is made anymore. Because nobody's making these chips just for synthesizers. The market's not big enough.
No.
So
We
sure.
could ask them to. I bet they would.
Given our status as influencers,
I wonder about
Until now.
those Tiger Shark ones. I wonder what they were used for.
I don't know. Okay. Well, we haven't heard enough from Behringer lately. So
Very Behringer dry.
There's recently been a leak of Behringer's PPG clone. And it's in the form of a YouTube video.
By I think it's Pure Ambient Drone. I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. James Drone.
James
himself.
Drone.
James Drone.
The Drone Zone.
Woo! Here we are. And he has a video up of it in action. And looking at the video, it is rather PPG looking.
This is a tall order for them to try to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is this a synth whose time has come?
I don't. I think Waldorf's PPG plugin is pretty gold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. If it sounded good, I'd consider buying it. If it was sub 1,000 American dollars, I could see doing it. Which it probably will be because I don't think Behringer's released anything more than that.
Yeah.
They released that Moog knockoff stuff.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
The
The
System
modular.
55 and the 15 and the
Yep.
Yeah, that's got to be more. It's like $3,000 for the big one or 35 or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 35.
Yeah. Okay, so I stand corrected. But like this sort of chassis type of DeepMind platformy stuff, like I'd be curious to see what they do with the UBXA because it looks like it's the same chassis as the PPG. It looks like the same size and everything. But it's interesting to bring the sort of great granddaddy of all wavetable synths, which I adore. I adore the PPG. I love it, but it's like, I don't know.
Their timing
I
is
think
great
that-
though for the hipsters.
Yeah, exactly. Digital is the new cool.
Mm-hmm.
The 90s are the new hip, right?
Well, I think digital synths have to make a comeback because a lot of digital synths are fantastic and
Mhm.
they get a bad rap.
Sure.
You can do really fantastic things. I've mentioned on this before how much I love the 1080 line,
Mhm.
1080, 2080, 5080 from Roland. Despite its horrible interface, it sounds fantastic and it's one of my favorite synths. It's a really flexible engine if you dive into it, which most people don't because it has so many presets.
Mm-hmm.
The PPG was one of Trent Reznor's first synths. Actually, I think he had a choice between the PPG and college, and he chose the PPG. Although it doesn't wind up on Pretty Hate Machine very much.
Yeah.
But it's a flexible synth, but it's a legendary and influential synth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they thought, hey, this is something we can reproduce, and it won't cost us an arm and a leg, and hipsters will totally buy it.
Right.
I think he graduated to the Prophet VS. I think that was his digital synth of
The
choice.
VS did wind up all over Pretty Hate Machine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's I like that Behringer's like, oh well, we need a wavetable synth to impress the hipsters. Why don't we just clone an old one?
Yeah. It's actually weird. The software emulation is legit. It doesn't try to make it consumable. It's just as awkward and weird as the original. And so
Yeah.
it's all happy accidents with the PPG. There's absolutely no constructive, like intentional use of it. Really. But it makes some beautiful stuff. I mean, it did have analog filters too. I'd be curious to see if they emulate that or put real analog filters.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because
Well-
Waldorf emulated those PPG filters really well, even in the Blofeld. So
Behringer sure did a good job of finding new and exciting ways to make confusing UI with the DeepMind.
It's true.
So
Also, the nice
So-
thing is that now that there's confirmation of the Behringer PPG clone. About 2 years from now, they'll have the Behringer PPG clone Mark II
that's right.
that will fix all the mistakes that they're going to release when they release the PPG Mark I after extensive non-beta testing.
I think
and they'll tell you it's terrible. And why did you buy it?
Yeah, why would you buy our first?
Buying this
You should
from-
know us. And I'm waiting for that one of these days. Like, you should know us by now. Never buy the first generation of any of our products.
yeah.
We don't know what we're doing. You're our beta testers, so keep buying it. You know.
I mean, the DeepMind hasn't had a firmware update since like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get the Klingon character set that we were all waiting for to make the Behringer easier to use.
It wouldn't make it harder.
Yeah, I know, right?
Kapla.
Hello, Jeff, for real. Right back at you. Finally, because we didn't get any last week or our last show, Cherry Audio has been watching and listening to us
Woot.
and is back at it again with the Memory Moog VST. Look at them go. In their most unconvincing tease video ever. They show you exactly what it's going to be.
I think only one Memory Moog in the world ever worked, and it only worked for 5 minutes. But it sounded really damn good.
Right?
Skinny Puppy had one.
Yep.
I know, I
Yeah,
tease, but
yeah.
they're just nightmares for maintenance, man.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't have much information on that. Actually, do we or don't we? No, tomorrow we might, because that's when they're planning on
Yeah, the launch is
announcing it's
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
on the 15th.
Yep.
Not to get tangential, but I think the Moog one was sort of modeled after Memory Moog, at least visually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know about much else.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it is sort of the spiritual successor in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Although
Do
for
it.
the price, man, every demo I watch of that thing, I'm like, no, I'm still not paying that price for this. I'm not convinced that Moog can do a poly in a sensible way, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded really good, but I really considered it for a while, but there's some things about it that are just so particularly strange, and
Dude, they can't keep the bloody oscillators in tune with each
can
other.
they do it? Yeah.
I mean,
and
come
the
on.
way
This thing
that-
costs like 5 large, man, if you get the... Come on.
If you get the baby one, it's 5 large. It's 8,500 for the big one,
Which is
and,
sickening. I can't even talk about it.
And the way that they've handled the oscillator tuning issue that it had is just crazy. It doesn't. So it shipped, for anybody who doesn't know this madness, it shipped without a tuning algorithm.
My Prophet
couldn't
600 has a tuning algorithm from 1982.
Yeah, violins from 1621 have a tuning algorithm. Like, this is not a new invention. Like, tune this shit. And so it did not come with one. And so initially, I think it was Nick Bat had gotten one, and it went out of tune, and they're like, I don't know, we'll send somebody to your house or something, I guess. And so they fixed it with his, but anyway, weirdly these things kept going out of tune, and so they released this quote unquote fix, but it doesn't tune the oscillators in the way that you would think of it as tuning. It sort of applies a after the fact correction to them, and it normals them all to the same correction, so it sounds super sterile if you have to apply it. It is very, very not good, and that was the thing that really is just like, look, I'm not.
I think
I'm
it's
not.
super ironic
Wait,
though
so
that
it turns it into an $8,500 Juno?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, the funny part is they're totally repeating history because they made fantastic monosynths, including the Moog Source, and then bankrupted themselves with the Memory Moog, which turned out to be hugely ineffective. Now, I love Moog. I'm not trying to talk any smack about them.
Yeah.
But it is sort of questionable that they would try to make a poly again and then step in the same dog shit that they did 40 years ago.
Yes, and it's like it had that, and then it has, so it's of course it's tritimbral. How many outputs does it have? 2.
Come on, left and right. That's all you need. Be happy you didn't get a
No.
mono
It
like
has
my
2
Prophet 5.
stereo
right?
pairs. It has 4. It has 2 stereo pairs. It's a tritimbral synth. Why would you give it 2 stereo pairs? It just,
I know why.
because dollars. It is only $8,500. I get it. They probably couldn't add 2 more jacks.
The number
Yeah.
of the
You wanna know
counting
why?
shall be 3.
Spite.
4 is right out.
Spite.
Why
I'd
do
like
it?
to return a
Because fuck
synthesizer
you,
for
that's
Spite.
why.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's wild, but probably Cherry Audio's Memory Moog VST is going to be killer.
As always.
It'll
Probably.
probably work better. It'll be probably work better than a used Memory Moog. It will probably be cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bet it will be as much as maybe $50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cherry Audio has made a Moog clone before, and it's free if you want to download it. I've just posted a link. It's the Surrealistic
Nice.
MG1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the concert mate, right?
Yep.
I had the Moog.
realistic concentrate. Yep.
I had the Moog Rogue, which was the one that didn't have the organ polyphony effect, but it was the same engine. Yeah.
Oh, good. Our PR agent, Commander Root, has joined us once again.
Right.
So hopefully, Commander Root, I hope you've brought back some sweet gear for us to review. Just shoot me a PM on that one.
Is the Moog Rogue, is that the same engine as the Taurus?
No, I don't. I don't know. To be totally frank, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think it does.
No, the Taurus was just like a square wave. It's real limited. I think the my Moog Rogue had at least a sawtooth.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's already got more oscillators, but it's possible. I mean, made maybe around the same period, but it was really designed to be a budget entry level synth. And they do have a beautiful ladder filter, and it's got some cool stuff. But it was my first vintage analog synth, and it's plastic chassis. It's light, but I held onto it for 2 years and sold it for twice the price that I paid for it because of the hipster factor.
Nice. Good work. Yeah, so the Rogue, I just pulled up I just thought about it for a second and remembered this. I definitely didn't look on Vintage Synth.
Never.
It's it's sort of a scaled down version of the Prodigy.
That is true.
What-
Yeah, that is
Is
true.
what they're saying.
Yep.
So
And the concert mate was the Radio Shack version of the Moog Rogue.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it's sort of like a scaled down version of a scaled down version of a Mini Moog.
but people love it. It's got all the hipster cachet that you could ever want.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like nine faders and 5 knobs and 4 switches.
That's all you need.
It's not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded good. But it's super limited. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound good. It's it's got everything you need and nothing that you don't. And if you think you need something else there, well, guess what? You're wrong.
If you're trying to emulate Skinny Puppy's setup up to Vivis X6 and you've had a memory moog sized hole in the setup,
Or in your
now
heart.
you'll have something to fill that hole
Nice.
that you can then load up in DP.
Yeah. Exactly. For $50, you too.
Oh, that was great, Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Erica Synths and Sonic Potions is now has their LXR02 drum synthesizer available. This is kind of an exciting little piece of gear. Justin, I hope you pre-ordered one because I know you have to own every drum machine and drum synthesizer known to humankind.
I am a disturbed drum machine collector.
You really are. It's kind of
I got Moby beat
terrifying.
at this point, especially since he sold all the shit.
Yeah. Well, you like to beat Moby anyway.
Yeah.
I
I have a Moby story, but I won't share it here.
So it's a fully fledged digital drum machine with an integrated sequencer. There's 6 different instruments, each with over 30 parameters to tweak, producing sounds from classic analog emulations to crunchy digital mayhem, thus offering some of the most extensive sound design capabilities found on a drum synthesizer. Its compact, durable design and clear user interface makes it ideal for live gigs.
It looks good. It sounds good. Did y'all
Yeah.
listen to the demos of it?
Yeah.
I actually didn't.
It sounds mean. It looks like it is close to, if not about the same form factor as their DB01 baseline,
Mm-hmm.
which is sort of like, I don't know, I guess kind of like their interpretation of what a 303 ought to be or something.
Mm-hmm.
So very similar in form factor and in size, but man, it can sound mean. That is the thing that has always like really attracted me to a lot of the Erica Synth stuff, like their black system or their techno system. That just sounds so aggressive and
Agree.
raw in a lot of cases. It's really nice.
Yeah, Erica Synth is really a tier 1 company when it comes to modules and synth stuff. So I'm sure it's going to be excellent.
Mm-hmm.
That's very.
And
interesting.
it's actually not very expensive. It's 490 euros.
Yeah, so
which
it's about
is,
like
I think
under 600.
some dollars.
Well,
Interesting.
what's the polyphony on it?
Did you say what is the polyphony on it?
Yeah.
It's just 6 drum voices.
So is that one voice at a time then?
I think
It's not like a Lin drum or
really
something.
say, honestly.
No, it doesn't say on
I'm
it.
assuming it's 6.
Yeah. All right.
But
Let me read the manual real
An
quick.
assumption.
Yeah, Andrew's going to read the manual, and
Okay.
I am not going to take over MC.
Thank you for purchasing the Erica Synth X Sonic Potion. Okay, it's going to be a while, guys. It's 42 pages.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, I've lost my place. Thank you
I'm
for
just always
purchasing.
suspicious of these digital drum synths with no polyphony. Just make it a sampler with polyphony.
Yeah.
It's just that's what you need in a drum machine. Although I will give credit, Jeff has an analog drum machine that sounds fantastic.
Which one's that?
But
Someone's sitting behind you too. Your other behind.
Oh, yeah, the rhythm?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
My other behind is.
yeah. That thing is that thing is the Lincoln Continental of
DP.
analog drum machines.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what Korg does with that drum log, because
Yeah.
I
That
forgot
one-
the drum log was a thing.
well, it isn't. I mean, it is, but they haven't actually announced.
It's
it
kind
for
of
sale.
vaporware at this point. Isn't
It is a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
25 years ago, I could buy a drum machine for $300 that had 32 notes of polyphony. So things should have gotten better instead of worse over 30 years.
Maybe
Oh
they
my
have.
gosh.
That is
Maybe-
too many
maybe
notes.
32 notes.
Too many
is Too many
notes.
notes.
Well, I like drum rolls.
Nice.
Too many notes, Herr Mozart.
But so which one should I take out?
That's like when I posted a picture of the deluge, and my friend's like, that has too many buttons. I'm like, well, which buttons do you want to be taken out?
Oh,
Jeff for Reels as what y'all think of the model samples? And I owned a model samples for a while, and I hated it, and I got rid of it like 6 months later.
I still own mine. I think it's okay, but it's a gateway drug.
Yeah, and I didn't need a gateway drug because I already was heavily involved in Electron's ecosphere.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would just get a dig attacked.
Yeah, yeah, same, absolutely, because it's a crippled dig attack in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't like the buttons; they're mushy. They're the interface, like the knobs, feel weird. The whole thing is feels like clunky and sludgy and not in a
The
fun way.
advertising felt like a fake 90s PSA on Invader Zim, you know.
Or
Oh, the cool
drugs.
young kids love this thing. It's slick. You can put stickers on it, you know. Like,
Yeah.
Its marketing was it something. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when a product here's the real thing to know. When the product comes with stickers that you're supposed to put on it, and that's part of the value proposition, and the product is an audio machine,
And not a plastic model of a SR-71 Blackbird.
you have been distracted is the thing. And yeah, I think that it seems like to me it's yes, it is probably in terms of value, it's probably not bad, but I think I don't have one and I don't own a circuit either, but I think at around the same price I would probably go for a circuit.
Yeah, if the thing had battery power, then we'd be in business.
It does
the
now.
handle.
You buy the handle and
I'm
you
not
put
buying the
AA batteries in the thing that lasts 25
Lot
minutes
of 'em.
each.
I'm not buying an effing
Like
handle.
25 of them, I
Get
think.
out of here. Forget
Yeah.
about it.
The next one, I can't wait for the. I'm probably under NDA about this, but maybe it's expired. I don't know. The next one that's going to come out is going to be a thing that looks like one of those LED rope lights, so you can put it on a chain like Flava Flav
Hell
and wear it
yeah.
as a necklace.
down.
I'm going to
That's
buy a
gonna
new
be
model
battery
samples.
powered.
I'm into it.
But yeah, no, and that's a good point. The circuit does more. It's and plus it also gives you a synth engine.
At about the same price.
Yeah, at about the same price. And the only thing it doesn't give you more of is sequencer slots. It's only 32 step sequencing. But
If you want to jump into the Electron workflow,
Yeah.
and you only have 300, and that's how it's going, I mean, you could make the argument that a beginning producer could use it as a drum machine.
what I would do is I would sell myself on a street corner for another $200 and get a dig attacked.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
how much
there's
do
always
they use
organs to
Dig
sell
Attack
as
for?
well.
Yeah, blood, whatever. I
Plasma.
mean, sell something you're not using,
Spleen.
like a loved one. And
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, the dig attack is the thing is that like the model samples is if it's the gateway drug, it's the gateway drug. But if you can get a dig attack for $200 more, save up your money and get the dig attack for $200 more, because what's going to happen, at least in my opinion, is you're going to buy the model samples and you're going to outgrow it.
You're going to hit the wall.
And you're going to get rid of it, and then you're going to buy a dig attack anyway. The dig attack will live with your setup for years. It is a Swiss Army knife. It is so much more than just a mere sampler. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be the center of your setup. It could do everything that you need it to do. You can use it as your master sequencer. You can use it as an 8-channel MIDI sequencer. You can use it as an audio interface. You can do so much more with it than you can with the model samples.
And the stock sounds actually sound really good.
Yeah, and
which
it's
is surprising.
fun to play with. I didn't find anything fun about the model samples.
There's God, what is that thing called? This is like the most criminal thing that I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I feel like a criminal saying it because I'm not like a computer person for this stuff. What is that? What's the sampler? Do I have it on my phone?
Mhm.
It's the one that Andrew Wong made.
Oh,
or worked on.
yeah.
What's that one called?
Yeah, I'm looking it up real quick.
Blip.
I like Andrew Wong. I
So-
just don't watch his stuff, except when he goes to space for pretend.
Yeah, I mean, space was cool. So actually, that's if I were to say like if you have any kind of if you have an iDevice, an iPhone or an iPad, and you want to check out, if you want to check out the sampler type workflow,
Mm-hmm.
Flip is killer.
Yeah.
I mean, it is absolutely killer, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like $10 or something like that. His development folks are working on getting it onto Android. It's not there. There's Koala Sampler on Android. That is also pretty good.
Hamdroid.
Android for all your train and phone needs. I don't know.
Spam.
Yeah, but I would say, honestly, I would try something like that. It doesn't have the buttons, and it isn't the same thing. But you can make the same kinds of things on it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just doing it a little bit differently, but Flip is killer.
Yeah, absolutely. J. Rod Ohio says, I have a Deluge and a Digitact. Both are amazing. I'm working on putting together a side-by-side comparison between the Deluge, the Digitact, and the Circuit to kind of show folks, because some folks were asking about the differences and how they all work together and how they don't. And I completely agree that Deluge is, in fact, amazing. And Actitet says, stickers are not fun. And my answer to that is they're not scratch and sniff.
Yeah, I think, well, they gave us canned words. If there was more single, just sort of, alphabetic letters and weird fonts, I think there would be more possibilities.
Yes.
I think they're fun. And just to be clear, my point about the stickers is that when the marketing for a musical instrument is that it comes with stickers, it feels like that's a little bit of like the magician being like, look over here at my beautiful assistant while I do this magic trick over here that you don't see.
I don't know about you, man, but I got a sump pump, stickers, AR-15 stickers. I mean, it's normal, man. Come on.
And, I know a lot of synths come with stickers, but these are like you can customize your
they make a big deal about it. It's not that they come with stickers. Like everything comes with stickers. It's just they made that like part of their marketing.
Right.
I was like,
this is
like,
fun.
why are you trying to distract me from the thing that you've made and tell me that you've put stickers? I expect stickers. It's part of it's what comes in the box.
My Buck Rogers Death Ray has fun stickers.
Yeah, like if there's a synth, and a lot of synths have wooden ends, and if the majority of the copy about the synth is about the wood they used, that synth sucks.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting like a Ricardo Montalban here, like a fine
Corinthian leather.
Yeah.
All the best leather comes from Corinth.
Well polished, illegal rainforest wood.
Okay, so yeah, that was good. But yeah, the Erica Synths LXR02 drum synth does look pretty cool. It sounds like it's going to be amazing. Everyone should buy one, and they should send us a review copy so we can go into the woods of central Pennsylvania. Oh, you know where we can do our reviews?
I think Andrew's right.
Can we do our reviews in Centralia, Pennsylvania?
Sure, why not?
Because most of it you can't walk on because it's melting. The whole city's on fire.
That place is crazy.
Yeah,
it's an old there was some kind of strip mining going on there.
They had a coal vein.
A coal vein. That's
they had and the coal vein's been on fire and will be for the next million years or something.
It's taken over like the whole mine.
Yeah,
the whole city is
By
screwed.
the way, that's not the only one of those in Pennsylvania. There's multiple coal fires burning underground under these cities.
Yeah, but that one's the most popular.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
So totally. Man, I was gonna live forever anyway, so yeah, let's do it there.
Let's do it there.
Yeah,
let's. So yeah, when we start doing gear reviews, we will meet in Centralia, Pennsylvania.
Can we dress like rats of unusual size? Because
I don't think they exist.
Oh yeah.
But that way we like
all the time.
survive this review. Who knows?
Will we die from asphyxiation? Tune in. Can you imagine like our clickbait photos for that?
Yeah.
Is like all of, like us like choking and dying.
Well, since the Jackass guys have finally tabled their activities, like I'm sure their EMT crew would be more than happy to follow us.
Yeah, exactly. Will your synth melt when we set it on the ground in Centralia, Pennsylvania?
And we're gonna do it real fast in a shopping cart down this hill. On fire.
It'll be like our version of Will It Blend? Will it melt?
Yeah.
Will it melt under the coal fire? Anyway, so Jeff, this was one of yours you sent in was the Nettle Scanned Synthesis AU VST, and we're going to talk about this without Christoph because it's available and for free and it's released for Mac.
Yeah, it is very strange, and I started to try to write a description of it, but then I just said nope, not possible. So the description that they wrote of it is that Nettle is a software instrument that explores the unique and relatively underexplored world of scanned synthesis. Okay, all those words make sense to me. The timbre of the sounds you create constantly evolves, as the waveform produced is made by tracing, scanning the positions of masses that are always in motion. These masses are excited by you pressing a key on your MIDI controller. This simulates the action of a hammer striking the connection of the masses. Okay, yep, sure. Through the manipulation of those masses, the springs that connect them, and the hammer that excites them, a wide range of dynamic and almost sentient sounds are possible. This is ayahuasca, but it's a synthesizer, and you hit it. Only you don't actually hit it. It sounds pretty cool. I thought it was just more novel, that it was some really kind of peculiar. It basically amounts to like a really peculiar way of creating the wavetable. And then it's just a wavetable synth, but it's still pretty.
And unlike ayahuasca, you won't die if you carelessly use this thing.
Probably not.
Probably not. Also, guys, why is there a hype train going on right now in our talk show?
Because John Haynes just gave in 500
bits, and
J. Rod Ohio did 100.
Yeah, and Jeff For Real gave us 100,
Jeff
and
For Real did 100. That's
apparently
right.
we have to start singing "Working in a Coal Mine" by Devo as well for J. Rod Ohio. Well, I've been working on a coal mine, working on a coal mine. If I knew the rest of the words, we'd probably get.
There aren't any others.
Yeah,
No, there aren't.
Unfortunately,
It's using physical modeling to generate its wavetable.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, it's cool, but it's weird, and I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna run it.
This
and
episode is like got the wackiest, kooky. Like, this is interesting.
I love wacky, kooky stuff, man. I wish we could just find more of this stuff and talk about
these
it.
cats are like armchair philosophers / particle physicists when they're writing this shit.
/hippies.
It's great.
Yes. These masses are
hey, guys,
excited
what
by
if
you
we-
pressing a key on your MIDI controller. My mass
What
is
if
excited.
You took some masses and like sprung them together and just like beat on them and then synthesized.
We're striking connections of masses with our hammer.
Yeah, man. Do you know how many neutrinos can pass through this?
I have the needle with God in it.
It's far out.
My
many
hands
rich
are
men.
hammers. It's it's a little wild, but it's I don't know. The demo of it I thought was pretty cool. It sounded good.
Yeah.
Fundraiser for the coal mine
So everyone
show.
wants to see us go to Centralia, Pennsylvania, and review gear. Oh, I love the idea of this.
Oh my gosh, we started.
Robo Guy Gene. Do any of you have thoughts and or experience with AI generated music or composition? Disclaimer: I don't know much about creating music. Dust Christoph is answering that on there. Yeah, I've not really. I mean, I've never done AI generated stuff, but I have a modular setup, and I've used that to create generative synthesis based upon some rules I give it, and it just goes to town. If you tune on this channel over the holidays, you can see it and you can hear it in action, because it's a holiday tradition for me now, is to have the Carol of the Crow playing for 72 hours straight. And you can,
Oh my
and
gosh.
some folks have actually tuned in the entire 72 hours and just had it playing in the background instead of like Christmas carols and
Man, I'm just
irritated
gonna
their
watch
in-laws.
The Forbidden Planet on loop and watch it.
Absolutely.
Well, I've watched the IA stuff from afar. I haven't done any of it either. I've creepily watched it from afar, and some of the stuff that is generated allegedly creatively, like force, coming out of it, definitely hit some uncanny valley moments for me.
And I know Amazon's been working on
Yeah.
like their AI based music thing, and I've looked at it, and I've played with it online, and it doesn't work very well yet.
Yeah, I mean, like the
Needs help.
Roland stuff, like with their Jupiter X or whatever, where it's got the sort of assisted machine learning, whatever the hell
Yeah.
they're doing there. That's kind of interesting, even though I still think it sucks a little. I don't think it sucks. I love technology. I'm just saying, I'm going to sound like a curmudgeon here, but, no thanks. I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't need fucking Skynet helping me finish this track. I'm good.
Yeah. I think that there, I think that there could be uses for it that could be really helpful for people. I mean, if you've got, I don't know, like if you're trying to find a more interesting chord progression to accompany something, or
Right.
you want some like more interesting fills. I don't think that there's a super high likelihood of music that is purely AI based and purely generative ever sort of like striking the same chord for people as something that's human created.
Mhm.
And actually part of that is because humans, you could have an AI that wrote the same song and you'd tell people that an AI wrote it and they'd like it less than a song that the same song that you told them that some human wrote,
Mhm.
because people want to feel connection to people and they want to feel special and unique among the planet and whatever. So but I do think that it could be another useful tool, in the same way that, but I think of it as sort of like as a useful tool in the same way that an arpeggiator or sequencer is a useful tool that has like parameters and rule sets applied to it that
Right.
kind of like takes you to a new place.
So to recover from my curmudgeon position, I think it's cool, and I think academically, for example, it could be cool. But I think what's going to be important is to be able to forge a relationship between some sort of AI or machine learning interface, such that people could herd it or move it in directions and then see what sort of delightful stuff comes of it. It's
Yeah.
not too different than me fucking with the synth. I have no idea what it's doing and coming up with a beautiful thing by accident. And I know that seems counterintuitive because I'm saying automate on one side and human interaction on the other. But I think, I mean, look, if people want to create AI to gen music, cool, whatever. You know what I mean? But to be useful to me, I would have to have some interface or way of manipulating it that doesn't require advanced computer science degrees.
But also remember that you're asking this question to a bunch of musicians who are scared shitless of losing our jobs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, because like we don't have any money anyway.
But so there, I basically think of like the usefulness of AI is just really more advanced, like auto arrangers or audio accompaniment.
Sure.
I think it was Korg came out with an advanced system about 20 years ago, and it was in a couple other synths. I can't remember the name of it right now. I've got a few other words that are coming to mind, and it was useful for doing things like jazz and Herbie Hancock, which is like these really complex things. So it could help take you in directions where other audio accompaniment wouldn't. So
Weird.
artificial intelligence will be very good for that kind of like, all right, I'm going to do this, and then it'll do its own jazz improv. And but when it comes down to it, somebody is still programming the AI. So it's just like when Andrew creates his Krell patch, he's creating the rules and he's guiding it. And
Yes.
that the creative choices he makes guides where it's going to go. And so that's still useful. So it's about the rules that you make for where it's going to go. That's what decides whether it's going to be, emotional or not. And again, for me, the thing that makes music valuable is that it makes me feel something. And if it makes me feel something strongly, then it can transcend genre and we'll really like it. If it, after that, besides making me feel something, says something about the human condition, well, now then I have to say it's great instead of just really good. And AI on its own, it can't do those things. But if somebody programming that AI gives it certain rules, then yeah, it can be useful. And like they've come up with things that'll like, hey, I figured out the rules to the Beatles or Nine Inch Nails, and now I'm going to write something like that. It will have the AI do it. It can do it, and it's good. It's not good. And for the like people that aren't really that discriminating in what they listen to, it's gonna be just fine. You know, like, can I write a bunch of algorithms that'll make 3 hours of techno for a rave? Absolutely. Can I do it in 2.5 minutes? Absolutely.
Hey, but the thing is, you could also do that without an AI.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Yeah, Jeff, you could buy the MIDI pack. MIDI pack. The MIDI pack. Oh, sorry.
yeah. So, I mean, honestly, techno's one pattern.
RoboGuy Gene kind of wraps it up there. It says, "Yes, I don't mean as a replacement for the artist. I mean AI as a tool an artist uses to create music." Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It could definitely be very useful as a tool.
Other than
Especially,
Roland.
I mentioned people buy MIDI packs now.
Yeah.
And so it could definitely help assist with chord progressions, chords at all. Just all kinds of things. It could be very
rhythmic stuff, especially. I think AI is very good at rhythm in ways that are pretty interesting, because rhythm is by far the most mathematical.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sure.
And I'm sure that eventually it'll get to the point where you're combining, like, it knows what your tastes are, like with a Pandora-like algorithm,
Right.
combined with what it compose.
Right.
So yeah, that could absolutely happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of people who are non-musicians, like almost like the Star Trek, what is it, food fabricator machine? You
Press
know?
button and make
Yeah.
the song.
Replicator.
Yeah, I would like to hear something inspired by Def Leppard, but not actually Def Leppard.
Well, actually,
Jeff
that
for
happens
real.
in Next Generation, where Jordy's describing what he wants classical music to sound like, and it keeps changing it based on what his mood is.
I like it.
Like he'll say slower or louder, and that just changes it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that could absolutely happen in our future.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeff for real says, but does an AI have the soul of a coal miner? And I would say no, but neither does it have the black lung of a coal miner.
This is true.
Yeah. John Haynes, I bought myself a bottle of Macmira Intelligence recently, AI generated whiskey.
Wait, what?
What?
How is it?
Does it taste
Myra?
artificial? Does it taste like a replicant?
Oh my gosh.
All right. Anyway,
How many questions?
how many questions can we do this?
I don't know. 100.
So I want to
Cross-reference.
bounce back a little bit further back in the chat because this goes into the next topic I want to bring up, where J. Rod Ohio says, "Did you see that Dreadbox has discontinued the Erebus version 3 and the Nix version 2 due to chip shortages?" I did see that, and that's kind of crazy. I don't know if they're going to ever bring it back once the chip shortages are gone or not. But they're also just teased the Abyss 8 voice analog polysynth, as well as the Nymph 6 voice analog polysynth. So I'm not sure if they're pointing it toward those directions, or if maybe like the Erebus and the Nix, they used older chips that just they aren't going to be manufactured anymore.
Interesting.
AI can't feel Black Lung, but they can listen to the album Black Lung Cathedral by Graven Image. Who'd fuck? So yeah, that's kind of a thing as well. So it's like they're getting rid of some two things and adding new things to the
I'd be really
mix.
curious to see. As you know, I owned the Abyss. I bought serial number 5 or something at Milkfest, and I really wanted to love it, but I parted with it. It just as a poly, it was just limited to me. I regret. I would much have preferred to buy the monophonic Erebus, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm not knocking it or bashing it. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. Sounds good.
But
It's
I mean-
maybe a little mushy for a poly. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just the oscillators are almost like too thick. It's kind of like we were talking to the point where polyphony from a gain staging and a balance of it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It was just real loud.
Yeah. RoboGuy Gene, thanks for the bits. Appreciate it. So this is the preview that we've gotten so far of the Abyss is literally the box that it's hanging out in. So we don't really have much more information on it right now, except what's labeled on the box, which looks like there's, and again, this is just the tease kind of thing, and who knows if this is even the final anything. This could be just a prototype or whatever. It's got two LFOs is what we see on there. Analog macro oscillator with like the Typhon has.
Yeah, the Typhon sounded pretty badass.
Yeah. Oh, I know a lot of people that love the Typhon.
I actually really like Dreadbox. They're
Yeah.
super cool.
So if anything, we might hear something at Super Booth in September, or even possibly KnobCon, because people will do that. But I have a feeling that Dreadbox would probably release any of their new stuff at Super Booth, since that's in Europe and they're based out of Greece. And then the other thing that they are teasing as well is the Nymph, which is again, it's a beautiful little desktop box that's purple in color.
Weird.
I love the fact that they're making all these things colorful. Like you can see, like that yellow thing is a Dreadbox.
Yeah, I saw the line.
phaser
Their
and
effects
stuff
pedals
like
are
that.
like that.
So they're all getting like bright colored because if you like, Dreadbox has a very particular sound, in my opinion. We had this discussion a number of times. It kind of sounds like an abandoned street in East Berlin.
It's great.
Like their effects are kind of dirty and kind of like windy sounding.
Yeah.
And I always felt that their synths have a certain like grungy.
That V1 Erebus, the dirty delay in that thing
Mhm.
was sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a Medusa, and I think that thing is great. And it's just, I think Jeff Reel, thanks for the bits. Appreciate it. So yeah, and so I'm interested to see about the Nymph as well. 6-voice analog polysynthesizer. They're advertising it as, and again, it was kind of teased. Someone saw it in the offices, in the Dropbox offices in Greece. So that will be probably again showing up at Super Booth.
I'd be curious to see the diff, right? One is 8-voice, one is 6.
Mm-hmm.
And the form factor obviously is totally different.
Yeah. Well, they're both like desktop style and everything like that.
Be curious to see how the sound difference.
Yeah. And the Erebus, the Erebuses are really nice sounding synths as well. J-Rod, I agree. Beefy as hell, indeed.
Yeah. I know the early versions, a lot of people didn't like the fact that the delay was mucky.
Yeah.
And I think the first versions might be harder to find, I think, because some people actually really liked them.
Yeah.
I think those were all through hole too.
Yep. John Haynes says that Jeff has a sad trombone sound, but I think no badumts in his repertoire. You are wrong, John Haynes.
Yes.
But that we missed the comment that Jeff for real made up there.
Oh, the John Coltrane.
Yeah.
Maybe. There we go. God, it's so done.
Man, that was some Benny Hill shit.
So
there. That was
fucking
great.
done.
That's what I need. I need the Benny Hill theme.
Oh, you need yakety sax.
It's gonna be
Man.
copyright strikes everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then there's a couple more stories. We're running out of time today. That's how many stories we have, so we might have to push Bitweek forward to our next show. The last thing I wanted to pop up here real quick, because I love leaving it on a note of questionable ethical behavior, and that is Behringer with the Devilfish clone.
Yeah,
I'm
this
shocked.
was announced a long time ago.
Shocked to find Geblinger here.
Yeah.
Here are your earnings, sir.
Yeah. It's just kind of, I mean, it's like, okay, cool. Thanks for doing that. But first of all, it's like, oh yeah, our original TD3 was terrible. Buy this one instead.
Turns out it actually sounded like a 303. Why would you ever buy that?
I know, right?
Yeah, morons.
Yeah. So
Although I did call it.
yeah,
You
it's
did.
true.
You so did, man.
Yeah, but like,
303 is terrible.
yeah, it is. And like Robin, who does the Devilfish mods and stuff like that, was actually working with Behringer on this for a little bit, and then he stopped, and they were like, well, we're going to push this out anyway.
Now, I remember when this was announced months ago, before it came out, he was saying that he would come up with his own Devilfish mod for the 303.
Who Uli?
So if you did already buy your TB3 or TD3, you'll be able to get a mod from him.
Oh, Robin will mod it for you.
He was working on one, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if he completed it.
Man, if that cat's working out of his garage, he's gonna have a pile of
But
people,
now-
TD3s
but
in his.
either way, if you don't already have one, like me, then yeah, you could buy this new one, but I will not.
Well, I'm just
That's
waiting
the-
around for
so terrible.
holidays, Christoph, so I can give you my TB3 because I think you're really.
I think
enjoy
that'd
it.
be a wonderful gift for. I think we should just start sending him TB3s. But they're cheap. They're like $99.
Yeah,
They haven't been multiple colors, so we can have every color in the rainbow.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you would like that a
Let
lot.
you know if they blend.
Or melt.
Yeah.
Our next trip in Centralia. As a matter of fact, I might check the melting point of the Roland TB3. I wonder if I can't get this devil fished into being something useful, then maybe we'll see if it melts in Centralia, Pennsylvania, in this fine
Yeah.
plasticky case.
I just want to
Did you
get
try to
Tetris
return
working
it
on
out of
this thing.
spite, maybe, and just see if they'll take it back? I don't know if you can return a synthesizer for spite, but you can give it a shot.
I can try.
I don't know. Man.
I don't know, but I mean, it could also maybe. I was thinking about maybe using it as a food tray, like would you like more sushi?
Oh, that's useful.
And it can have it on
Say,
there.
what's wrong with it?
Mhm.
Like you say, well, it sounds like a TB303, and that's terrible.
Yeah, it's not. I hate that interface.
Yeah, honestly, considering
I was playing around
Christoph,
with this, and then a bunch of ravers showed up with glow sticks, so I can't have it.
I'm now wearing Jenkos, or was that what they're called? Jenks,
I don't know.
big pants.
Yes, I'm on way too much MDMA to follow this conversation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
There
it's
was
okay.
a band whose name I can't say here, but they had a song called Bigger Pants, Bigger Loser.
Which band was that? What does it rhyme with?
Well, the initials were AC, and it's two names that I can't say on
Oh, you're
Atlantic
talking about
City.
buttocks vagina.
Twitch. Yeah, yes,
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the big, it was Big Pants, Bigger Loser.
Big pants, bigger loser.
Nice.
There you go. I've owned big pants in my past,
Yes, I like big pants.
and I cannot lie. So yeah, what's everyone got coming up? Anybody? Justin, what do you got coming up?
Well, I'm going to harp on the usual thing. Thank you for helping me do some mixing work. Finally shipping this thing off to Adam Boos, our awesome mastering engineer wizard. Hopefully at the end of this weekend, and that'll be a wrap real soon.
Sweet. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
When the project is called?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the project.
Hi.
Hi, Andrew.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
The project is called Still Planet, and the album is called Atana. And I'm not sure when it'll actually get released. I still have to come up with cover art or find a good artist or something. But,
Sweet.
yeah.
Awesome. Christoph, what are you up to this week?
I'm streaming tomorrow for Spike Club, and then on next Wednesday, I'm streaming with a woman from Germany, Belgium, for her stream called Mutant Transmissions. So that'll be me, her, and her husband. And then next Thursday, Spike Club. Next Friday, I'm opening for Morris Black in New York City, and that'll be my first live DJ gig in 15 months.
Wow.
Wow.
Christoph is leaving his house for the first time in 15 months.
Congrats.
Yeah, the smell's going to be pretty bad.
I would say don't forget the shower. Do you remember how to shower?
Yes, because I have to shower at the Mohawk.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad
Good
you've sorted
point.
out your priorities.
Yes, that's the important thing. Very good. Well, I wish you luck on the DJ gig in New York, as well as, of course, your usual Spike Club and the guest appearance. That should be fun.
Thank you.
Jeff, what do you got going on?
I'm going to continue to hope that a UDO Super 6 gets shipped to me. That's the big one. I've got a little bit of stuff that's kicking around in my head musically that I'm going to try to get out. And then I've been really diving into the Op6, trying to learn some of its inner workings and figure out how to make it really go.
Mhm.
And I've been working on a patch for it that I'm really excited about.
Nice.
That I'm trying to finish off. It's basically a slightly heavier version of Eddie Van Halen's shred guitar sound that I'm trying to make on this thing.
Nice.
And it's really close. And so that's what's up for me.
Cool. Yeah, you should do some tutorial videos on that thing.
Once I get good enough to do that, I'll do it. But I've got it beat into some pretty good shape now, at least where I can do what I want, and like it makes more sense than it did a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I think
And you just released a studio tour video, too.
Yes. Yeah.
I did a studio tour video. Yeah, I learned a lot from that.
Mm-hmm.
Learned I got to remember to set my camera over there back to be a camera mode, not be a webcam mode. Step one.
Step one.
I mean, it's in pixel vision for your pleasure.
Mhm.
Oh my
Pixel.
God.
It is. It's retro.
Pleasure pixel vision.
Yeah.
Grrr.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'll be meeting with Commander Root this week, so we can work out some maybe getting some of this fine Behringer equipment and to review in Centralia.
Nice.
And outside of that, I'm learning and understanding and cracking the code in the Squart Pyramid I got.
Nice.
Actually come pretty far with it so far. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty impressed with what it does. It's a lot of fun. It's more fun than it looked like it would be.
It's very good.
It doesn't look like fun, and then you start getting into it and you're like, oh, this is fun. And then next
yeah,
thing you know,
it looks like a black box with white buttons on it. Like,
Yeah.
Eh.
and then next thing you know, your pants are gone and you lost
Yeah,
track of
it's-
time.
Is it
Solid.
like programming the Insonic Mirage using hexadecimal, or is it?
It's a little bit better than that.
Because I find that deeply satisfying because I'm a troubled person.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my big plan as far as like working in the studio here. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got going on. Working, my job's actually been pretty busy lately, so there's that. So yeah, that's it. That's our show for today.
Huzzah.
Yeah, I know, we did it. We filled up another 2 hours. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for the bits today. That was really so it was a surprise and really much appreciated. Glad you guys are enjoying the show tonight and stuff. Glad you're enjoying that. Nope, no bras on the head this week. Sorry, that's a different show that I do that on, and I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't even know if they're going to let me back on that show, and if they do, I don't know if I'm going to have a bra on my head or not. Who can tell? Tune in to find out. Anyway, we are back here in 2 weeks, where we will be in the middle of the hot-ass summer, which I know Christoph loves the hot-ass summer. Mm-hmm. So that'll be fun. And yeah, join us. We'll have more news. It feels like that synth news and stuff is starting to get more and more populous as we get closer and closer to what's becoming the two events of the year, and that's NobCon and Superbooth. We might. Would be fun to do is if you know how they do on that British version of this show. If we go there with camera, go there with a camera crew. Like if we do a bullshit version of that, and we just run around with our phones, and then if we see like the guy from Synthtopia who's always there, we just like push him.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would like to sort of spot the like synth nerd like celebrities like we always do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And go up and interview them but
go and hassle them.
Hold the phone up really like close to their face and be like, "So, Moot Booksley.
Yeah. How are you?
Oh, you're Mark Doty.
You might remember me when I was Tom Green. I walked up to people in Toronto and was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, maybe not do that.
With poop on your mic. Yeah.
Yeah.
100 ways to become hated very quickly.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we'll just go and enjoy ourselves that weekend.
Yeah.
Who knows? I think that might be better. Anyway, yeah, thanks all for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for the bits and everything like that. We'll be back in a few weeks. Who are we going to raid out to tonight? I have on my list Fantastic Plastics. They're pretty popular already. They got 324 viewers. We've got The Graceful Bard, which we're probably going to be wrapping up shortly as well. Sid Hearsey. Hoot House, if you like owls. Oh, Squirrel's on. We can pop into Squirrel and throw him some fun. He's a good guy. I like the Squirrel. So let's go ahead and bounce over that. Ask him to sing the Sound Guy song. So we're going to go over and raid to that. So thanks, y'all, for hanging out tonight. And I'll go type that in while Justin waves at you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Actually typing raid this time.
Put that in the right window.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Getting ready to raid. All right, I'm gonna hit the exit bye button.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.